Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Terry Harden here. Monday. Feels a little warmer. That's kind of cool. Yeah. How are you? How you doing? What's happening? Well, I had a really nice heart-to-heart with Terry's Tribe today, my Patreon page. They are so sweet. They're so nice. I told them that my weekend kind of blew up and I didn't get to rest like I wanted to. And that kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. But the tribe is a great place. And if you want to join it, please check it out. Here's where you can go and check it out. Your voice, I'd love for your voice to be heard. And it's a great place for us to have a conversation that's a little more deep. I know that might be surprising to you, but it can be a little more deep because it's private. So we can speak a little more frankly about certain things. And we do. We also talk about a lot of art, and we talk a lot about integrity. Just a lot of stuff is thing. And I was having a little trouble this weekend, so they helped me out. And if you are interested, here's where you go. Okay. All right. Okay. There you go. There you go. Hi, you're welcome to follow me on Instagram. If you want to look at pictures, you know the drill and you know how it goes. Yippee, 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 yippee. So, hi, if you're just joining us, this will go at least 1.5 hours, couple hours. On Fridays it goes longer. And if you're joining us and it's not live, please comment and let me know how you're feeling, what you're thinking, how you like it. If you decide that this comfy chat is comfortable for you and you'd like to be a part of it, then subscribe and be a part of this YouTube family / Facebook family / hi, how are you? Okay. The first thing I want to do before I get into the Wandavision Disneyland, you saw the thumbnail. What are you going to do now, Wanda? Disneyland? Disneyland. Yeah. Yeah, that was me. That's all my fault. I'm getting up out of my chair because I want to share with you guys the giveaway, which I usually end up doing in the middle of my video, and I want to do it at the top. For those of you who are like me and have a short attention span. Yeah, because I can go on for a while. Those of you who know me know that's no joke. So I want to do a giveaway based on Dinosaurs, the TV show, which dropped in February on Disney Plus. Yay! I played Baby Sinclair's arms and a part of Team Baby. And to celebrate that, I wanted to, I'm just moving some things around here. Just going to jump in really quickly. Forgive me. I'm going to my, yes, thank you. Thank you. It's very funny. Because I go to this thing and I know what I want, but then I say, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. But anyway, I'm doing this giveaway, and all you need to do is, if you loved Dinosaurs, the TV show, and you'd like some of the swag that I have here that I'm going to give away, I'll give it away this month. Please send me. You can email me. Let me put that up. You can email me at terry@terryharden.com. You can message me, but I would love for you to tell me a story about your love of dinosaurs. Were you a kid when you first watched this show, Dinosaurs, the TV show? Were you are you showing it to your kids now? What's the story? What is your, I'm just going to go to photos because I bet you it's in my photos. So funny that there we go. This is what I wanted to show you. So here is Team Baby. Here I am with Team Baby. This is the show I'm talking about. Not the mama, not the mama, not the mama. And I'm doing a special giveaway based on this Dinosaurs show. So here is the swag. This is a calendar from 1993. I'm going to be giving this away. I'm also giving away a TV guide. Look at how pristine this is, guys. This is because Terry doesn't ever break even the spine of things when she keeps a hold of it. And this is 1991. Yeah, some of you might not have even been born then. Going to give away that. This is the Adventures magazine. Some of you said you used to collect this. Well, here's the one based on dinosaurs. This one is 1992. All of them dated. Again, pristine backing, a lot of fun. There's just a couple pages, and the covers of these are about dinosaurs. This TV guide was something that you used to get in the mail. See, that would tell you what was on TV when there was no internet. It's back in the day when there was no internet. And then I have these buttons that I'm going to be giving away. So all you have to do in order to be part of the giveaway is send me your story. All right. Doesn't have to be a long story. It can be just a short little blurb, but from your heart, share your heart. Why did you like dinosaurs? Why do you like dinosaurs? If you're watching it to now for the first time on Disney Plus, or your children are watching it, and kids, your child, you can enter your child's story. Okay. That's what I want to do. I have a huge collection of things, and a lot of times I will do a giveaway on my Patreon page, but I will also, and again, this is where you want to send it. Just email me, or you can message me on Instagram. You can message me on Facebook, whatever's easy for you. Just reach out. Don't put it in the comments because I may or may not see it. I want to make sure that I see everything. And then probably closer to the end of this month, March, we will we'll do this giveaway, and I'll send it out to you. No obligation. Now, I will say, if you're across the pond, I pay so much in postage, and then you may have to pay that too. I won't make you pay all of it in postage, but you may have to pay some of the postage. I will tell you how much I pay. This happens on my Patreon page as well. And then they pay the other half, and people are happy. I didn't want, if I could do it, and you don't have to pay for it, it's kind of a drag to win something and then pay shipping. It's kind of silly. So I try, but across the pond charges so much, and I really don't know why. I feel like we're neighbors, right? But it is what it is. So, okay. And one more time, if you are interested in the Patreon page, here you go. If you want to check it out. Okay. And any questions, feel free to message me, etc., etc. And there we go. So now let's talk about the subject, because the last thing I would like it to be is clickbait. Okay. Those watchwords that my husband says, clickbait, that's a drag, where they say the name of somebody, Wanda, and then they talk about whatever. So Wandavision, woohoo, guys, I gotta say thank you to you. Thank you. Because honestly, I thought Wanda was over last week. I did not know there was an episode 9. I mean, honestly, who does 9 episodes? Let me just get this last bite in here. I know you did not check in to watch me eat. But because I broadcast about 3 hours or more on Mondays, my husband watches me like a hawk to make sure that I eat. So that's the last bite. You won't have to watch me chew anymore. Okay. Okay. WandaVision. So how did I know about WandaVision? Well, let me tell you. Thank you. On the AMA Friday, you all let me know that a new WandaVision dropped. Leo Holzer was the first, and I thought Leo Holzer, hey Leo, if you're listening, was hallucinating. I thought he was behind the schedule because my husband and I both thought that it was over with episode 8, and it wasn't. Now, if you haven't seen WandaVision, don't panic, because I'm not going to give any spoilers, okay? I couldn't, which is one of the reasons I like talking about it, because I really couldn't give you spoilers. I am not a Marvelite. And so I love WandaVision for different reasons than Marvelites love WandaVision, okay? People who are into Marvel and superheroes and all of that, which I am not, really dig deep into the matter into the workings, into the watercolors that is anything that is Marvel, yeah, including WandaVision. Now, if you are a alumni and you've been with me a long time, you know how I am. I'm more of a Star Wars person, more of a Disney person. Love Godzilla, things like this, but not really a superhero Marvel person. I when I was a kid, I loved Thor, painted him on my walls in my room, and so forth. But I wasn't really deep. Now, Star Wars was different. I could tell you in the Star Wars films, the original three, the ones that released originally in 1977, I could tell you, I knew so much about that movie. I could tell you where they actually flipped film footage. Okay. So I'm not, judging you. Definitely not, because I am just as guilty as you are for wanting to know deep, deep down under the hood, if you will, but Star Wars. But what my point is that WandaVision, it was so special because it allowed me to watch a show with my husband who is into all of that and still enjoy it. And it's funny because I saw a headline the other day that said WandaVision, the first thing that entertains both people who are not Marvel and Marvel. And I had spoken about that way ahead. So did they copy me? I wonder. I wonder if they copied me. In any case, it's the truth. No matter who says it, it's absolutely the truth. It was the first show that I could sit and enjoy every single time with my husband, every single episode. Now, I'm one of these people that doesn't need to know the full background of these characters. I just need to know little bits to help me. So I first asked him about the guy with the red face that Wanda's in love with. Now, we all know, and you already know, but I didn't know his name. Vision, okay? I liked Vision. I still like Vision. And quite frankly, I honestly love Wanda. I love them both. But this show just had so many elements for someone like me. So I would turn to my husband and I'd say, "Is Vision a robot?" And he would say, "No." And he would say, "Vision is a fill in the blank here." And I would say, "Stop. Don't give me his whole childhood history. I'm good." And then I asked why, when I first talked to you guys, and I said, "The lady with the red hair, is she using fire?" Because that's what I said to my husband. He said, "No, she's much more powerful than that." And that many of you know that Wanda is powerful. So I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying Wanda's powerful. And so I said, "So she's not doing fire?" And my husband said, "No, she has many powers." In fact, when I was on earlier talking to you live, you all told me that she's Scarlet Witch. And I kept saying, "Well, why isn't she called the Scarlet Witch? Why is she called Wanda?" And people reminded me that in the movies, Age of Ultron, I guess, we met her and her brother, and she was called Wanda. So, okay. So now, and my husband said, "You watched Ultron, she was a villain, then she wasn't a villain, and she was blah, 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 blah." And I go, "Stop." That's all I need to know. If you're like me, who has a Marvelite, and it's really passed over your head, this superhero stuff, WandaVision allowed us to do that. So I really got into it, and the 8th episode aired, as you know, last Friday, not last Friday, but a week back last Friday. And my husband and I both thought it was done. It looked like it was done. It looked like it was finishing up. So to us, we both said, "Hey, it's, I wonder if there's going to be another one, blah, 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 blah," the stuff you always say. And then you guys informed me there was another one. Do you realize I could have gone through life thinking in my head after 8 that was the end? that there wasn't another episode. And then I got to watch the other episode on Saturday with my husband. And it was fantastic to watch. It was a lot of fun. I'm not going to talk too specifically about it, but it was great to watch. It was really cool to watch. And it was heartwarming. It had stuff for me and it had stuff for my husband. And it did a couple of things I thought were very courageous. However, my husband tells me this is kind of the formula that goes with superheroes and Marvel. So I'm not going to say any more about it. I'm just going to say thank you so much for sharing WandaVision and letting me know that there was a 9th episode, because woohoo, I was so happy that I got to see that that other episode, because I didn't know. Now, if we swing into, because I said the big thing people wanted me to talk about was Disneyland opening April 1st. Is there a reason Disneyland chose April Fool's Day, do you think? I say, honestly, because it could not happen. Okay. I'm a positive person, guys. I'm all about positivity. But right now we're both in the purple tiers. If we had been in the red, we're close to the red level, which is the next level down. We are very close. And if we keep doing the good stuff and we keep behaving, we'll go down. The vaccines are finally apparently getting to the point where they're coming in regularly. And I'm hoping soon to be able to get one. I'm too young and too healthy. So who would have thought? Rats, But the point is things seem to be moving well enough that maybe it will happen. But there's so much more Disneyland has to consider before opening. For one thing, huge restrictions on capacity. And as I've said before, Disneyland is a small, intimate park. It's not Walt Disney World. It's not California Adventure. Plus, there's a few people that are, well, let me just say Club 33. Okay, you've got your Club 33 members who pay to go to Club 33 whenever they want, but they have not been able to do it during the pandemic. So do you, as Disney, and this is a question, do you open on April 1st, but you make it exclusive to Club 33 members first? And then is it really opening on the 1st for everybody? They didn't say opening April 1st for everybody. They said, Disneyland said opening April 1st. But that's what I mean about it being April Fool's Day. Personally, I think as an Imagineer, had I been Disneyland, I would have said we're going to open in June or July or October. Okay. Out there, farther away. Now, before you climb all over me, you get upset. Here's why. Because then let's say everything falls in place. We get down to the red. We maybe even get down to the orange. And Disneyland says, hey guys, surprise. Because of your good behavior, we're going to move that opening date up. I mean, don't you think that it feels better think of the way the pandemic has worked. Okay. Just think about how the pandemic has worked. How excited are you to have something open only to have it close again? It's annoying. Come on, right? It's annoying. So why not be like, why not say, pick a month and then surprise everybody if the stars align, the planets align, everything works great, and Disney finds they can open. Then they can say, guys, with everything looks the way it does, looks good. We know we said September, but now it's going to open earlier because you guys have been doing a great job. Personally, this is what I like. As an artist, I'm going to try and tell you the worst case scenario. It doesn't always work, i.e. the hitchhiking ghosts. Some things you just can't prevent. But if I can push it back and say, look, this is not going to happen until XYZ month. And then I can say, hey guys, it's a little earlier. Look for it in your, I'm shipping out. I got them early. I'm going to ship them out in March instead of April. I'm going to ship them out in April instead of May, whatever. Okay. I think it's better when somebody says, hey, it's a bit early instead of April 1st. No, wait. May, no wait, June, no wait, October, no wait, 2022. Yeah? Yeah. And I know Disneyland wants to open, but and Disney World has been open, but Disney World is bigger. And in Florida, by the way, and Florida's a little crazy. Okay. So there's things happening in other states that I just am really glad I'm not over there. That's me. That's me. Okay. But for those of you who've gone to Walt Disney World and you've had a great time and everything has been safe and everything is cool and you were able to social distance and you were able to do everything you wanted to do, that's great. That's awesome. And I'm really happy for you. But Disneyland isn't intimate. We're nowhere near the size of the Magic Kingdom. We're nowhere near the size of Walt Disney World. And everything is about being on top of each other. Plus, we have these tiers within Disneyland, Club 33. So I'm wondering if they're going to offer openings to Club 33 first before they offer it to anybody else. Because Club 33, to be a member of Club 33, you guys know how much it is to be a member of Club 33. Basically, a lot. Club 33 is a wonderful place to be, but I think these people pay to be members because they get to go to that exclusive place whenever they want to. And then when the pandemic hit, they're still paying and they're not getting to go. Right now, one of the things that I heard from Club 33 members is that Club 33 is kind of taking care of them by offering them exclusive swag. So they've got some cool swag that only Club 33 members can own. So that seems to be making some of them happy, but you can't please everybody, right? But when it comes to opening Disneyland again, you got to consider these people who are paying these mega amounts of money to something they cannot access. Yes? So that's why I'm saying April 1st is a little too close. And it is April Fool's Day. So the promise I make to you is when Disneyland does open April 1st, and I don't think it will, you all have the right to me. On April 1st, you go, hey, Terry, nya. You get to nya me. And I will happily absorb it and love you because you do something that I just don't think can happen. And I am one of the most positive people in the universe. I do not like to think negatively, but I just don't. I'm trying to be the person who has to do this. And I'm like, whoa, and we're talking about, will there be a new tier of pass holders? Are they going to be that far along? I mean, we are talking Disney and we are talking the most creative people in the world. Yeah. So I am not privy to their conversations and their thoughts and processes. And if anyone can do it, let me just say Disneyland can do it. But it's a big job. It's a big job. And they only get to let a little bit of people in. And if you remember back before the pandemic, they were already isolating people on the various tiers when the passes were there because the park kept filling up to capacity. Long before Galaxy's Edge. And then once Galaxy's Edge happened, it was like no harm, no foul. They were filling up like crazy. So they were having this challenge already. So now, as we go back, there's going to be people like me who are not, let's say, you win, Terry, and the park opens. I will not be going in April. Why? Because there's you guys out there that need this. Now, the thing they said they were going to do is limit it only to California. They weren't going to let anybody come from outside of California and go to Disneyland April 1st when it opens. Should it open? They're not going to let you in. They're not going to let you in from Nevada. They're not going to let you in from Arizona. They're not going to let you in from anywhere. If you do not have a California zip code, you don't get to go. Okay? How is that going to work? And who is going to enforce that? And who doesn't want that job? Whoa, yuck, right? And then there's other things that they're talking about putting in place, basically making already cast members who are talking about being extremely underpaid do more work. So, yeah, you see what I mean? When you start to sort of dissect what it's going to take to do what the park needs to do, and they're Disneyland. I don't really want to diss the other parks, but there's no park like Disneyland. And there's no experiences like Disneyland. The other ones are great. Knott's has some cool stuff, and Magic Mountain has some cool stuff, but Disneyland is more than an amusement park. It is an experience. It is a way of life. It has people that are just so wonderful to be around. It's more than just an amusement park. My opinion again. The cast members make it a wonderful experience. They go above and beyond, making it fantastic. And it's just a land that you've got to be in. And I know a lot of you out there, you need it. You need it like you need hydration. And you've been unhydrated for over a year and you need it. So the last thing I'm going to do is take one of those spots away from you guys. I can go anytime. And if I want to go see you and I've been vaccinated and I feel safe, all of this, caveat, isn't it? I'll meet you in downtown Disneyland. We'll just meet outside the park. I know that park by hand as you do. So I really want it to be for those people who are borderline dark depression because they haven't had their Disneyland fix. You know, something as simple as being able to see the Disneyland castle is something that they want. I mean, I've heard many of you have written to me and told me that you've gone to downtown Disney and you've kind of hung at the fence and tried really hard just to see something that gives you that just to feed that a little bit, even if you can't go through those gates. So this is really super important to you. And far be it from me to be the last person to take that from you, you know, because I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. And I want that to be, you know, very, very special to you. So, and who knows, once it does open, Wanda could go to Disneyland, couldn't she? And, you know, that maybe the family goes, you know, so that could be kind of cool. That could be kind of interesting. So I will try to remain positive. You guys hold me to it. When it opens in April, if it opens for everybody, you get a ticket and all that sort of thing. You have the right to nyan me. Because you do. So if I segue from Disneyland into some of the things that make Disneyland so beautiful and fun. One of them, as you all know, is the Haunted Mansion. And you may know that I am doing, because I think every time I broadcast, I bring up my hitchhiking ghosts. And I want to thank you for, forgive me, I'm working on something here. I want to thank you for all your nice, wonderful wishes, and those of you who have received the ghosts, how much you love these illuminating ghosts. And one of them is George of Pegasus Loft. Have you seen the Pegasus Loft page on Facebook? Are you a member of it? I can't remember who invited me, but this is collection, George's collection Zilla. He is probably, would you say he was a leading authority on collecting? Because he's got one heck of a collection, doesn't he? And he just is, as he describes on Pegasus Loft, as he opens up certain things that are very special to him in his collection. He collects, as far as I can see, correct me if I'm wrong, George, if you're listening, or any of you who are big aficionados of Pegasus Loft page, which is amazing, by the way. If you don't, please go over there and ask to join and see if he'll allow you, because it is an experience not to be missed. Speaking of someone who can create experiences. just fantastic, just mind-boggling for me because I don't have anywhere near a massive collection. I'm an Imagineer. I'm creating stuff. Not that he doesn't, because he is. But my point is that he bought a set of these. He got a set of these, and then he posted some beautiful shots of them and talked about what it means to have them in his collection and how much he loves them. And it really touched my heart. And I wanted to do a public thank you to George of Pegasus Loft for, saying that to me. As Kevin Wiedenweber, who called me from his hospital bed and did the same thing, thanked me. And then several other people have done the same, said they're just beyond. George said, it's a shame that this picture doesn't do them justice, that when you finally hold them in your hands, they are dazzling. And I want to thank him for saying that as well, because I work so hard on these and I continue to work hard on these. And because they light up, if for any reason there is a challenge with them, meaning you get them and they're not what you expected, or they are what you expected, but something, because they're pranksters, these little guys, you just call me up or email me or message me and we'll get that all worked out for you, whatever you need. So, because that's what I'm about. Someone else also bought a set. So now I'm down to 10 sets. They are limited to 50. And if you're interested, you can go to my website, terryharden.com, and I'll put that up just really quickly so you don't have to think about it. But you can go to terryharden.com and click on my online store and you can find them there. You can look around. Also, I have other things like the Hitchhiking Ghost glow-in-the-dark pin. I don't know if I have that on this thing, but like the glow-in-the-dark pin, you can get the glow-in-the-dark pin if your budget is such that you are kind of, your budget is your budget. Those ghosts that you just saw are the Cadillac version. They are the ultimate, only 50. And I'm not going to be doing illuminating ghosts. I'm not going to be doing anything illuminated. They just really nearly put me on the funny farm, honestly. A lot of work. But I also did the blacklight ghost. This is him here. These blacklight ghosts, there they are. There he is in the blacklight version. And they're available as well. So when you go to the store, you can take a look at them. You can see what they're all about and experience them. Or you can get the pin. And the pin, I signed the back. It's embossed on the back. And it is the Hitchhiking Ghosts. Again, it's the Hitchhiking Ghost characters. Let me see if I can show you a picture of those just to be kind. Okay, let's see. It's National Women's Day that I've just been told. That's nice. Yeah, I'm a woman and I'm feeling pretty national. So yay, congratulations to women all over the nation. So what I was going to do is show you the pin. So let me show you the pin so you guys can, I'll just show you a quick shot of the pin. I think I did it before, but let's just pretend that I didn't. And I'll show you my Hitchhiking Ghost pin. And if you guys want this pin, you're welcome to have it. So there you are. And there it is, normal, and then it glows in the dark. This is $20 also on my store. So you go to terryharden.com and you get it. So there it is. So something for everyone. That's, as an artist, I try really hard to get something for everyone. I know how much you all love these ghosts, and we don't want to keep you from having what you want. So that's the situation there. And like I said, George of Pegasus Loft shot some really nice pictures. Here's one that he did that I absolutely love. And it just gives you a little peek of the box. This is one shot by George of Pegasus Loft and how happy he is. And you can see by looking at them that they aren't all the way lit. So they don't just turn on like a light switch. They illuminate like a little specter on your shelf. that took a lot of work for me. First of all, 2 years to read R&D. The main 2 years R&D thing was so that I could go from the disc battery that you put in sometimes in a watch or whatever to AAA's, because I wanted it to be as easy as possible for you. So that's what that's all about. And I wanted to give a shout out again to George. I love you, man. Thank you so much for those beautiful photos, that beautiful share, and that beautiful shout out. And if it's something you want, go to my store and go to my website, terryharden.com, click on online store, and you can take a look. It doesn't cuff you, doesn't it, gotta buy something. No. Feel free to just, browse if you want, and then go have a coffee or whatever. It's all from the comfort of your home. Okay. So something I did not put in the thumbnail, because I just found out about it after I posted the thumbnail yesterday, was the Harry and Meghan interview by Oprah Winfrey. Do you guys see this? It really knocked me for a loop when I watched it, because I am a mixed race girl. I am half black and half white. So I'm mixed race like Meghan. And I knew Meghan was mixed, but I didn't really, for me, this isn't a big issue. Okay, it is what it is. I'm mixed. What are you going to do about it? I'm mixed? I don't know. But she talked a lot on the interview about people, there she is in the palace. And how many of you think that, it would be great to be a prince or a princess, It'd be great to be Prince Harry. It might be cool to be someone like Meghan and be able to be a princess and live in a princely fashion and do princess and queen stuff. You watch The Crown, and you kind of, if you do watch The Crown, which the royal family says, with it, of course they would, right? It is, after all, a long series movie type thing. It's not a documentary. But you look at Harry and Meghan, you see the beautiful wedding, you see them smiling and everything, and they look to be happy. But they really said that it was a very uncomfortable atmosphere for them, especially her. And at one point, someone just spoke right up and said, "We got to wait and see what color your kid is." Basically, the skin tone of your child. Wow. Right. But here's the thing. My parents, when they wanted to get married, they were tried. The people who loved my mother said that she couldn't do this to the kids, that it was a really selfish thing to do to the kids, was for my mom to marry my dad, who's black, and my mom is white. And they just came out and said, you're going to make your kids half breed. They're not going to fit in either camp. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm really glad my parents didn't listen, because, but then I think it was a surprise to many, my mother's side of the family, which was terribly racist, I got to tell you, my mother's side of the family. And then my mom, of course, my mom is I won't go into her history, but here she is being raised by these people who are racist, and she's not. She falls in love with my dad like almost immediately. And so isn't that interesting? Anyway, so they kept saying, what about the kids? What about the kids? And then I'm born, and I have this crazy hair, right? And I'm going to just go to a different section here, because it's nice to have visual aids, wouldn't you say? My hair wasn't always dreadlocked. Many of you might be new. If you're new, if you're not, you've heard kind of this story before. But I wanted to kind of put it in perspective with Meghan, because I know how Meghan and Harry felt. Now, Harry says he was in shock because he just couldn't, he's a white guy. And he lives in the palace. He's a prince. He was born a prince. He had Princess Di as his mom. There was problems there, but they're not about race, right? At least that's what Harry says. He says all of a sudden he brings Meghan into the mix, and he could not believe how blunt or blatant or how easily off the tongue they would say things that were just appalling to him. And one of those was the skin tone of the child, which is, yeah, pretty freaking rude, right? So I'm born to my mother. I have this hair that just doesn't stop for days, and it's blonde, and I have this white skin. And it's like, what? I remember my mom and dad, they didn't want to say, but it was a shock to see a white kid with hair like this. So let me just show you this picture. This is my whoops. That is not my imaginary picture. Okay. I got to trade it again. Those are the ghosts again. Boy. See what I mean? They play with me all the time, these little stinkers. But anyway, here it is. Let's do it right this time. Here is my hair. This is all my hair right here. Okay. So you can imagine there's this white kid with this haystack hair, and my mom has no idea how to take care of it. And, she brings me to introduce me to the family, and they're like, the heck are you? Well, that in itself is a rude, it's a rude statement. So yesterday when I was listening to Meghan, I just kind of felt for her, and I felt for Harry because I thought of my parents and Archie. This Archie didn't ask for this. Archie was born, and Archie looks happy. He has two beautiful parents, and they're gonna raise him right. But Harry says that he was trapped at the palace, and it wasn't until he met Meghan and he saw some of the experiences, the way his family treated her. And this is not the queen. Apparently, the queen is a gem, a darling lady who is to this day close to Meghan, and doesn't surprise me at all. I think this queen is just. I saw her in 1977 for her silver jubilee, and I just don't think. I don't know. She's just. It doesn't surprise me that she is as warm to Meghan as she is, and she's helping them deal with what they have to do because they're over here in California. They had to leave. They had to walk away. And a lot of the tabloids and things aren't telling the truth. Oh, surprise! And I just felt as she unfolded her story and he spoke of his story, I really felt for him because a lot of it hit me very hard, very, very much, very strongly. As a mixed race girl, and having white skin. Okay. I was married once before I found the love of my life, and we went back to his hometown of Kansas. And when I walked in, his parents, extremely racist parents, told me I could not have this light skin and be a black girl. So they said, you're telling us your dad's black. Well, you're lying because your skin's too white. I mean, two white people, what do they know? But they would not stop. They would not stop. And my husband felt very embarrassed. He didn't know what to do. And they kept saying, you must be mistaken, even though my hair is like out here. Right. And he kept saying, she is, like, I'm like, let's just drop it. Why is this an issue? But people get into these things and you wonder, you're like, what the, but anyway, they kept saying, the woman just kept saying, no, you can't be black because everyone knows that when a white person and a black guy get together, the child's always black. I don't know what book that was in. I don't know what book. But I finally said, all right, okay, you caught me. I was just about to send your son, my husband, out to get a few gallons of milk because the way I keep my skin so white is I fill the bathtub with milk and I have a milk bath every night, and that's why my skin's white. And this is the face I made. And they went. And then I just smiled and shook my head. What do you do with that? What do you do with it? You don't do anything with it is what you don't do. So this Meghan Harry thing made me think, and I thought, everything can be beautiful. And the one thing she said that really touched my heart was that she was really having trouble at the palace. She had studied. She had learned how to curtsy. She really wanted to be of service. She knew she was marrying a prince, and she wanted to be a a dutiful, dedicated, focused princess. You know, she knew when she fell in love with Harry that it wouldn't be about her, that she would support her husband as and he wanted to support her as his wife, right? And she's alone and she's feeling a little lonely, and she turns on the TV and The Little Mermaid comes on. And all of a sudden she's like, whoa, as she's watching The Little Mermaid. And she realizes that right before her, she sees her life. Little Mermaid falls in love with a prince, a la Meghan. And in order to be with him, she loses her voice. As Meghan said she did. But then she got it back. The Little Mermaid gets her voice back and lives happily ever after. And Meghan says she got her voice back. And it has not been an easy road. But you fight for what you believe in. And thank goodness they were both on board together. They love each other, and they joined hands, and they embraced their son, and they said, if this is what we got to do, this is what we got to do. And they came to California. And I'm not going to tell you the whole thing. You really need to see that interview. But if you want to talk more about the interview, feel free to talk about it. You know, I'm happy to talk about it. But Harry said, you know, he was disowned by his family, and he had, if it hadn't been for Diana, he would have no income. He couldn't have done what he did. He couldn't have made it to California. And he's grateful. He's not throwing it in anybody's face. He's saying, thank God, because this is all I know. And so I had to work fast, and then they took away my security, and I had to take care of my family. Okay. He's the prince after all. And I have to agree. How do you not protect the prince? He's the prince. What did he do wrong? He did nothing wrong. He's the prince. He was born into the family. And okay, maybe you don't want to do the security for Meghan because she's coming in, or I don't even know why you don't want to protect the son, because the son is the heir of the prince. Also a prince? Or am I getting my lineages wrong? You know, why wouldn't you protect the princely line? I don't know. But Harry said the same thing. He felt trapped. And then he came over, and one of his friends from the United States said, how about you stream? And that is how his company started. And he had to support himself, and he had to support himself fast. And it couldn't be a big learning curve, because the guy was, his job was to be the prince. I mean, it makes absolute sense to me. If you are someone going into the palace and somebody tells you your duties out of due respect is to curtsy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, just imagine what it's like to all of a sudden find that you're a prince, and now you're in California, and you have to figure out how to drive a car, or you have to figure out how to order food, because that's all done for you. Maybe even how to dress, right? It's really both camps have to learn, and they're learning, and they have support, and I back them 100%. I think Meghan was very brave. I thought they both were very brave to come up and just say it like it is. There were some things they were not going to cross. One thing I love about Oprah Winfrey, she's like one of those little dogs, like a little Pekingese. She's going to stick with it until you tell her not to. And I love that about her, because she's very polite about it. She's direct, but she's polite. And she was in this interview. Like, they would say one thing, and if what the question was not completely answered as she felt it should be, she would go back to it. And she was always gentle and polite about it, but she was direct. And so if you get to see this interview, I highly recommend it. I hope I didn't spoil too much for you, but this is something that I think is really important, because as mixed people, we do have our challenges. Okay. I don't think we're not accepted in both. I never had that problem. In fact, the black half of my family embraced me far more than the white half of my family. My mother's side of the family was a real nightmare compared to my black half of the family, which was heavenly. I mean, my grandfather lived to be 100, and he told me about the Pony Express. He actually had the Pony Express run past his home. He traveled. He was one of the biggest explorers and adventurers of his time, 1874 to 1974. And it was a dream come true to be in his presence. And he was the last Spanish-American War veteran to pass away at 100 years old. And so I experienced my first 21 gun salute, which I came to realize is actually 7 guns, but they shoot it 3 times. I really was expecting 21 guns, honestly. So it goes to show you some of the things that were shown to me and stuff. If you live in an area where there's not a lot of diversity and suddenly you are thrown into a situation where it is diverse, you may find you don't quite understand how to relate. And there's nothing wrong with that. Own it. And, like I've told the story of my dad, who was the first Black telephone man. And when he was hired by Pacific Telephone and Telegraph here in Hollywood, he was hired in Hollywood, California, first Black man to be hired in Hollywood as a phone man. They told him he would have to have water off a duck mentality. Okay, but then I think I relayed the story, and for those of you who have not heard this story, that he was putting phones into a radio station here in Hollywood, KMPC, Los Angeles. KMPC used to have people like Gary Owens, Roger Carroll, owned by Gene Autry, Gene Autry, Western Star, and his lovely wife. And my dad would go and put phones in there. My dad also put phones in or lines in for the Academy Awards for years. He did that. And then he also would go to various houses in Hollywood, including Jerry Lewis's house, and put in a phone. So he met tons of people, and they all loved him because he was a super cool guy. That's my dad. He's just amazing. But he's at KMPC radio, and he's sitting on the floor, and he's running wire. So back when the phones were like this and not like this, he had to run wire through the different floors. He had to tag them and then pull them through and patch them. It was called patching them in. And my father is sitting on the floor doing this. And a lot of times he would put a flashlight in his mouth to see what was going on and pull the wire. So, both of us wishing for our prehensile tail. But he was sitting on the floor when he turned and saw 5 white guys coming at him with kind of intense looks. Now he's sitting on the floor. So when they surround him, he's looking up like this. So I want you just to kind of imagine, what have I told you? First Black man, there could be adverse, try to be water off a duck. So in this situation, how are you going to handle it as you're sitting on the floor and you've got 5 or 4 white guys looking down on you like sequoia trees? Because you're like, you could be eek, or you could be, My dad, who is a high road person, throws the high road and he say, "Hey fellas, what do you need?" And they all looked down and they said, "Richard," and they started to shuffle. And he immediately realized there was no anger. They were there to ask some sort of question. And they said, "We were wondering if you've ever thought about going into radio." And my dad said, "Radio? Radio?" And they said, "Yeah." And he said, No, I've never thought about that." And they said, well, do you think you'd like to? Because he says, "I don't know anything about radio." They said, "Well, we would send you to school." And he's thinking, we would send you to school? And he stood there and he thought, now I always wondered why when a door of opportunity opens, I go through it before I realize if I really want it. This is my father. I get this from my dad, my hero, my dad, because he immediately said, "Yes, I would love very much to go into radio. I would love very much to train." They said, "We'll pay for all your training. We'll do it. We need you to join us. We really want you to join us at the radio station as one of us. Will you do it?" And my dad said, yeah, I'd love to do it. What do I do first? But I have a question, says my father. And they said, what? And he said, why me? And they looked down and then they looked up and they said, because we need a black man and you're the only one we know. Our company needs a black man. You're the only one we know who's black. Yes. True story, gang. True story. Now, how would you react to that if you were black? Are you going to be angry? Or are you going to be like my father was, water off a duck and go through that door and worry about the consequences later? Just go through it. It's an opportunity. He was very excited. He ended up spinning records for Gary Owens and Roger Carroll. He had a great time. And as a result, more and more people of color were hired because my dad was so cool. So my dad says, be your best self, no matter what color you are, no matter where you come from. It will help educate those who just don't understand. Now, it's not always going to work, but I will say, being mixed races, it works. One of the things with me that just boggles the mind on either side, people of color or white people, is they got to touch my hair. Okay. Now, if you are a person of color and you do afros, you know, touching the hair is absolutely taboo. You don't do it. But with me, I allow people to touch it if they ask. There are some that just grab it, which is really weird if I don't know you. Hello, your name is what? And it was worse when it was the haystack, because a person would put their hand in my hair and then they'd look down and go, hi. But people forget, don't they? I was bullied. I was bullied too. Let me tell you, many a time I came home with my clothes torn up and bloodied as a little kid. But people touch the hair. And to this day, if a person asks me, I touch your hair because they're not used to seeing this color in dreadlocks. That looks nice. Okay. This really looks nice because I take the time to make it look nice. Okay. I don't just go swimming and let the ocean be my stylist. Because if you do, you can look a little homeless. It can be a little unruly. It can be, but this is all done by a professional, surprisingly enough, who is white. He just happens to be one of the best stylists for African-American hair that there is. But the point is, people were very confused by the color and then by my skin. And so they would ask if they could touch it. And then they ask, how do you wash it? So these questions are questions that you're more than welcome to ask me. As I've said in the AMA, you can ask me these questions. Why? Because the more you learn about people like myself, the better you're going to be with others. My mentor was gay, and he was one of the first people that I ever met that was gay. And I asked him and his partner about being gay because I didn't understand it. I was not, as a young person, I did not get in front of that. I'm 63. So back at the time, people have been gay for a very long time. So, and that in early times, it was dangerous. If you were caught, they arrested you, and sometimes a lot worse. So it was not something that was like, hello, out in the open like it is now. And I'm glad that it is, because I don't think you should be judged by any of that. Again, like I said on Friday, be curious, not judgmental. Okay? Be curious, not judgmental. Because when you're curious, a person is more than happy to share with you any questions that you have. And you can start it with saying, I'm going to ask you this question because I'm curious. I'm not judging you on any level. Okay? I have a client who is absolutely lovely, and he has a daughter. And the daughter is, I forget what they call it. So forgive me if I say it wrong, if this is you, but you don't want to be gender specific. So you're not going to be woman. You're not going to be man. And I spoke with her. I remember sitting with her and having a tea while she was having a coffee. And I said to her, why do you use they and not the one? Okay, we are one. Like, I don't want to be a her and I don't want to be a him. I want to be a one, you know? I'm thinking that would be, but she was saying I want to be a they, but they sounds like Sybil to me. And I said that to her. I said, I'm not being funny. It sounds like you have split personalities. They doesn't really collate with me because they means many people. And so I'm thinking you're Sybil, multi-personalities. So why not say, I'm not he or she. We are known as the one. I am the one, or we are one, And she listened to me. And she nodded her head and she said, well, that kind of makes sense too. It's just that as a group of people, we chose they. So I said to her, as an old person, they isn't swinging with me. It doesn't roll off the tongue and it feels weird. So I was going to call her by her name. That I would not refer to her or him or them or they. I would simply say the name. You see, I said her name because I knew her as a her before she became a they. This choice in the life. A wonderful human being, a beautiful, giving person, and I love this person to death. But they just doesn't roll off the tongue for me. So I said, give me a grain of salt. I'm an old person. And so let me just address you by my name. By your name? Is that cool? And it was agreed. Okay. But that's what you do. If you're curious, be curious, not judgmental. And this has kind of been my thread for the past few days, because it really does, Walt Whitman said, be curious, not judgmental. And it's really hit me. I watched a show called Ted Lasso. You can find that on my YouTube channel and watch it if you want. It's long. So I kind of talk about it at the beginning. So you don't have to sit through the whole thing if you don't want to. But the point is that this really hit me. This is what I'm about. I've constantly been judged without people asking me anything. They just decide what I'm about. In not everybody, but in some cases, okay? Especially since you live in Hollywood. That's what they do. Take a look at you and they go, white chick with dreads, for example. And that's not the case with me. So especially, and people will ask if they have the white person's hair, where it is the same wet and dry. It doesn't change, which honestly I envied all the time when I was a kid, because I'd spend time in the water because my hair would hang down. And then the minute I got out, it went into my dandelion style. Whoopi Goldberg talks about putting a shirt on her head and saying, look, this is my luxuriously long hair. This is what I did too as a kid. The shirt pretended that my hair hung down because I really liked the idea of my hair hanging down. Dreadlocks made that happen, but also dreadlocks uses the property of my hair, which is very, very coarse and curly. My hairdresser says don't use the word nappy, but my whole family on my dad's side calls it nappy. But it interlocks on itself, and that's how I can make a dreadlock. But if you are a white person, you don't have this capability in your hair texture, and therefore it involves a crochet hook, several glasses of wine, and a very long day, and you can get dreadlocks. But you really suffer for your art then. As it is, this takes time already. I mean, it's just to tighten the stuff on the top because it grows out. But it still takes time. It still takes a lot of time under the dryer and to dry it. It's not the washing that's difficult. Consider it to be drying it like rope. It's the drying it, the drying it. And I use ShamWow. You guys remember ShamWow? It really works. It absorbs 10 times what it is, and my hair loves water. So that way I don't become a water hazard. And yeah, so I don't know if you asked it, but there you go. So let's pop over and hear what you have to say this morning, and we'll chat some more, okay? And so that's kind of what's been happening. Some of the thoughts that I have, some of the stories. There'll be more stories as I look at your comments, but here we go. So Daniel DeMeyer, how are you? How are you feeling? Now, Daniel and I go way back as friends, and I haven't seen him in a while. So it's great to see you on here, Daniel. Tamra, good morning. Now, when they say good morning again, it's because they're on the Patreon page, and they cross over to be on the public page because I talk differently on my private page than I do here. I'm just saying. Okay, so if you want in, go to that website I told you about. Oh, I don't want to skip David. Ha ha! Hi, David. Found me. Yes, you did. Okay, I just need. I don't know why in the morning I'm a little bit, my husband calls it snorfly, but I'm going to put this right here so that if I need it again. Hello, Michael. Your tribe rocks, says Janny. Yes, Janny is an amazing artist. And today on the call, I talked, there's several people like Janny who are these brilliant painters. And my husband got me some really cool paints, and I want to experience them. So I'm training. I'm actually taking a class, and I'm already behind. And one of the things I have to say, I take the class for two reasons. It is a pre-recorded class, okay? And I want to teach this on my Patreon page. I want not painting, but I want to teach. And I'm looking at different styles of teachers to see which one sort of appeals to me in order to teach others. And I am I'm very, 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 very beginner when it comes to painting. So I wanted to take from someone I did not know, and I wanted to take from someone who that I admired their work, but I did not know. Now, the first person I wanted to take from, they live in Australia, and they're the McCanns. She does watercolor. He does portraits. And I wanted to go to Australia to do this, and they actually are having classes in Australia, but I ain't flying over there with the pandemic, okay? No, not for some time. So I told it, she's trying to do an online course where she's going to interact with me, but I want to be a little bit more savvy about what I'm doing, so that she doesn't get her time wasted, because her class is not, it's not $25 to join it. it's because they're professionals. So anyway, I went in here, and one of the things that this teacher does is she gives you projects to do. She gives you steps to do. She walks you through the painting, whatever. And then she has you join a peer group. And I really love it because it's not a Facebook peer group. Okay. I love Facebook peer groups, but this one in particular is housed just in her group area, which I really appreciate. Really, really appreciate that as a teacher. And she divides the peer groups up into little groups. So I don't know how many groups per peer group and how many peer groups there are. But yesterday I took a chance and I went through and looked at the other people that are doing portraits. We're all doing a portrait. Okay. I don't know if I said that. And one of the things that just blew me away, and this is if you teach, and if you're a painter or you're an artist and you teach, you're going to giggle, because one of the things that the teacher said was she recommended a glass palette for the paint that was gray backing. Okay, not clear. Because she said the gray allows your eyes to rest, not white. It's a little harsh, not clear on the glass palette. But the thing she didn't mention, and this is one of the reasons I take a class, because I can learn how to teach a class. One of the things she didn't mention that I noticed through a couple of my peers was that if you have a clear glass palette and you set it on, let's say, a lime green tablecloth that protects your table from the paint, lime green. I want you to get that in your head. Lime green. And now you're going to try and mix colors on your glass palette. What do you think that does to the retina on your eye? Do you think you're causing yourself to have more trouble than it's worth because you have no gray backing? Even if you have a gray backing and that lime green is surrounding that palette, it's still going to mess with your eye. If you don't believe me, think about the burn you get if you've been in the dark and then you come out of a movie theater or something, someplace dark, and the sun hits and you go, I need my glasses, right? Because your eye is adjusting to what it's seeing through what it's seeing. Yeah. So that was the first thing I noticed about a couple of my peers, is that they had a clear glass palette on lime green tablecloth, and we're talking about the challenges they were having as they're trying to mix flesh tone colors, because this is one of the trainings. Well, you know what the teacher's going to say. In fact, I'm allowed to comment, and I'm a ranked beginner. Remember that, I'm a beginner. So I wrote, I don't know if it's my place to say, understand I'm a beginner and I don't know your level of expertise. But what I would say is you need to change that tablecloth, because that is messing with your color mixing. Sounds obvious, doesn't it? But as a teacher, that's how you learn to be more specific as a teacher. This is why I'm bringing this up, because it can drive you crazy. And then someone else had a glass palette on, those old labels that they used to have in the 50s that say peaches, pears, tomato soup, and they're like those really classy old-fashioned labels that you find on a side of a crate or something. That was the design on her tablecloth. So now she has peaches and pears and apples and this lettering, and then she has the glass palette on top of that. Same thing, guys. Same thing. So you want to keep the stuff around your palette neutral too, because your eyes are really good at absorbing everything that they see, and it can work against you if you're trying to mix colors. And mixing colors, everybody will tell you, whether you're choosing a color to dye fabric, to paint an object like I would my sculptures, or to mix flesh tones to learn how to paint a portrait, why put yourself up against the wall, right? And I mentioned that I was behind because the teacher has given me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors that she uses. Okay, so she talked about the colors that she uses. And I won't get into too much detail, but one of the colors that she uses, and again, if you're painters or you're illustrators, you're going to catch on to this right away, but she uses cadmium red medium. Okay, cadmium red medium. I'd show it to you, but I don't have it. And it's one of her 6 colors. So I can't color mix until I get a tube of cad red medium. Now I have cad red light. And my husband said, well, you're going to have it just for cad red light. No. If I'm some of you professionals out there, maybe that would work. But because I'm a beginner, I'm not going there. The teacher says to get the following colors. I'm going to get the following colors so that it's as easy and simple for me as possible, because I'm treading in territory I don't know. And I'm also doing something that makes people really nervous. As I looked at my peers, many of them are painters who paint everything but portraits and are terrified. I was very touched by how these experienced painters are a little terrified about doing portraits. I am not. I'm a sculptor. I sculpt portraits every day. So I'm not. However, I'm doing a self-portrait because I will have life to work with, captive audience during COVID, but also because if I look at it, I'm going to know if it looks like me or not. And I'm not going to say, that doesn't look like me. Have you ever had anyone you do a portrait and they're, that doesn't look like me? You don't need that on top of everything when you're a beginner, because you're really looking at the components. Is the eye right? Is the other eye right? Are the lips right? Is the whole balance right? You're actually dissecting the components of the face. And so you really don't want to hear that in the background. This is coming from my teacher point of view. If you're going to begin something, and this is a great time to begin it because many of us are in lockdown, that it's to try something new. So this is why when my husband bought me these paints, I'm just dying to use these paints. And I have a lot more colors than the one she said. And she said, you may want a bigger color palette, but she says, run with me on this one. Go with what I'm showing you. I have other colors that I introduce, but for this beginning class, these 6 are the ones I'm going to choose. And because I want to be teachable, I'm going with those 6 because I don't know what I don't know. Yeah. So this is why I point this out to you, because if you don't know what you don't know, just follow the teacher. Just be a lemming, and follow her. And that being said, let me be, because I'm all about truth. Okay. I'm not going to lie to you. She also said to get an 11 by 17 canvas, 11 by 14 canvas. Sorry, 11 by 14 canvas. And I didn't have one. And I'm practicing, but I had a 1 foot by 1 foot canvas, and she's really concentrating on my face. So I said, I'm not going to spend the money on a canvas. I don't know canvas well enough yet. So I'm just going to grab one of the canvases that I have in storage, and I'm going to use that one for my practice. She also said that you can use a regular plywood board or masonite board or canvas board or canvas. And I didn't have any of that. I had this canvas, so I'm doing it on canvas. I didn't worry, because as long as I'm able to execute what she's asking me to do, I don't think she's going to be upset. She also chose kind of a warm brown color to get rid of the white canvas color, because she's saying your retina burns out if you paint directly on white. Now, some of you may disagree. I know the McCanns, they kind of disagree. They go directly on white. Well, actually, he has started to do a softer background, maybe because he noticed his retina is burning a little bit. But in the beginning, he painted right on white. He didn't have any problem with it. But again, he's a pro. I'm not. And what I did was gray. I wanted to do a gray as a base. I just wanted to do a gray. And she said that this was the color she chose. And then she said you could do, many people like the old masters use yellow ochre for that old world, that kind of yellow ochre as a base. And I've seen many painters do that yellow ochre. But basically what she was saying was just get rid of the white. Okay, please hear what I'm saying. Get rid of the white on the canvas. So I did a gray. I did kind of a cool gray. And I really love it, actually. And then she began to show us other techniques. So you got to kind of, I do draw, but I'm following her process. Okay, I can draw a person right on the canvas, but she is showing us another technique. So I'm following her lead. Why? Because something might explode in your head like, whoa, that's pretty cool. I've been sculpting pretty much since I could walk. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I took a forensic facial reconstruction class. Okay. Do you guys have any idea what I'm talking about? Maybe you don't. You're probably like, don't know what that means, But forensic facial reconstruction is when they find, if you ever watch forensics, and I love forensics. You ever watched Forensic Files? Oh, I love it. Anyway, there was a lady on there, amazing. Her name is Karen, and she's this amazing facial reconstruction artist. That's the word I was looking for. So I'm just going to go through here. Here we go. Here I have them. Okay. So I have the pictures here I'm going to share with you. So they find a skull in the desert, or they find a skull after, they're looking for, let's say, they find a body and it's a skull, and they cannot identify because it's so old. Maybe it has some teeth, but maybe it doesn't. So a facial reconstruction artist sculpts, uses little white dots, and I will show you what I'm talking about now. Here we are here. This is me doing the muscles first. So you lay the muscles in the skull. This is what I'm doing. The people behind me are police officers and forensic anthropologists. Isn't that cool? I'm with some of the smartest people I have ever seen in my life. Many of them have never sculpted, but Karen T. Taylor was my teacher, and I saw her. But here's how it works. You take the skull and you sit with a forensic anthropologist who has done some of the math, And then you use these to put depth on the skull. So each one of these that you see here is skin depth. Okay, that's the way you start. And then what you're going to do is you're going to lay the clay on to that depth and construct the face. And here we begin to lay the strips you see in between. And I've got Karen in the front of the class walking me through it. This is in Texas at a forensic college, one of the biggest forensic colleges in the United States. And I'm smiling because it's killer cool. I'm telling you, if this had been around where I could learn it, I may have been like Karen. But I really want to go and do this again because I like to do things several times to get it in there. But the reason I'm pointing this out is because she taught me something more about sculpting. I've been sculpting since practically being a baby, okay? But I learned more because I followed the steps. I followed Karen to the letter, okay? So here is it being completely filled in, as you can see, and you do these strips and you put it to the level of these numbers. You see how it's just to the levels of the numbers right now. And you work it back. You kind of work back and forth. You kind of seesaw back and forth. Oops, that's not her stuff. And when you're done, you have an image. And I don't think I have the final image, but the point is that you don't have the... But the point is then what she does is she puts the face of the victim. In this case, it was someone who had tried to cross. I believe it was someone. I don't think it was anybody who had been, murdered or anything. But I think it was someone who had attempted to cross the border from Mexico into the United States, but they used the worst terrain. Texas has one of the worst terrains for Mexican people to cross over, that many of them die before they get to the border, which is why there's no fencing there, because it's just really horrible. But I guess they found this particular person there and they wanted to know her identity. And so what happens is you sculpt it and then you match it to the identity. And we're not allowed to shoot any pictures of the person out of respect for their privacy. But I was able to choose, even though my image is not spot on. Okay. It had challenges. Okay. It's not exact. I could still tell who it was. Now, what I realized though, is being aware of the teeth, I can do better portraits now because the way the mouth goes around the teeth of a skull really, and I'm practicing on skulls just to keep that in my hands when I'm sculpting. So what is the point of all of this? The point of all of this is when you have a teacher teaching you, do the way they tell you to teach, even if you don't believe in it. Okay. Just, humor them. They're a teacher. You took their class for a reason. Follow along as best you can, and then stick with stuff that you can stick with. So what I mean is because you have CAD red light, you don't have CAD red medium, spend what it takes to get the CAD red that she says, because there is a difference. Okay. And you could be really fighting against the fire of a CAD red light. Okay. That's, I know maybe some of you don't even know what I'm saying. I might be talking in a whole different language, but yeah, you don't want to do that. And I know Janny knows about it. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff we talked about. Hello, Angie. I know it's fun. So basically you want to try something new. And then when you do pick a teacher that you like and you decide to train with them, a lot of it virtually, you're going to be very, very happy if you just follow their lead. I've met a lot of people who just tend to go against the grain. Like when you're petting one of your fur babies and you pet it the wrong direction on their fur, just go with the smoothing factor and do yourself a favor. Don't make it any harder than it already is. Yes, the tribe is a bunch of good people that Terry brought together. I really enjoy them. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, your voice needs to be heard. We'd love to have you. We do Zoom calls every Wednesday. That's every Wednesday. And we just moved it to 11 a.m. because we want our friends across the pond to be able to join us too. So I hope you will consider being a part of the tribe. It is a membership site, which means you pay per month to be a part of the group, but you really don't pay per month to be a part of the group, you are what you're doing is supplementing so that I can show up. And I keep it very low, and I really do over deliver. Okay, you get a lot for $5 a month. So think about it. That's all. Hello, Deanna. Dr. D is in the house. Grim grinning Tracy. Oh, remember watching it with my mom and grandmother. We loved it. Baby was our fave. Exactly. So Tracy, if you have a story you want to share because you'd like to get some of that swag, that is authentic swag from the 90s, because I did the show and I have that. And I'm sure I have more. And if I do have more, great. I'll be sharing it both here and at the tribe. So, yeah. Yes, indeedy. Yes. Okay. Good morning, Catherine. Hello. Tracy says she was 22 and 92. That kind of rhymes, Tracy. 22 and 92. Those old TV shows were the bestest ever. Do you remember all of the craft recipes they would put in for an award show? Yes, and it's funny you should mention craft, because my very first commercial, in fact, many tried to Google it to see if it was still on YouTube. They found my first commercial. A lot of times when an actor is interviewed, if he or she hasn't been interviewed, they go, how'd you get your SAG card, Screen Actors Guild card? Because you have to get the card in order to do these. If you are Angelina Jolie, if you are Tom Cruise, if you are name anyone, you have to have your Screen Actors Guild card in order to do movies. Not independents, some independents too. But the point is that is the union that we are all members of. And so the question always arises, how did you get your SAG card? And I did a talking envelope commercial where I did 2 puppets, and in order their eyes would open, it was a United Air Express, and you can see it. I think I linked it in my playlist under commercials, but if it's not there, you can Google it. I should do that. Let me know if it's not there and I'll fix that. I'm looking to put all my commercials and anything that's with me in a playlist, so it's easy for you to go to YouTube and find it on my channel. But they wanted a few puppeteers. So in order to do that, they had me operate 2 envelopes saying United. And in order to do that, their eyes would open up because they just looked like envelopes, mild-mannered envelopes, and then they would come to life. United. And so they laced the eye mechanism in my teeth, and I pulled it back and United, because they didn't want to hire a bunch of puppeteers, one to do eyes and one to do hands. And that is how I got my first part of my SAG card, called a Taft-Hartley. Without going into too much detail about Taft-Hartley, you get 2 times you can do it. The first time is kind of, hey, you're eligible, you can join if you want. But the second time, you better join before, or you can't do the commercial or TV show. And the second one was the Kraft. This is where I'm getting to, Tracy. The Kraft Philadelphia cream cheese commercial, in which there were talking hamburgers, talking vegetables, and a talking Jello mold. And I did the voice for the Jello mold, and that got me my SAG card. And I was 19, 20 years old. I was young, just a little younger than you, Tracy, when I did that commercial and got my SAG card. And I couldn't afford it at the time. It was $390 to join. And my co-puppeteer paid it. And then when I got paid for the commercial, I paid him back. So shout out to Tim Blaney. I love you for taking care of me. And so, yeah. So nowadays it's thousands of dollars to join, right? So, yeah. Angie says, I came only to watch you eat. Guess I can leave now. Is she having her breakfast? Yes, Angie, I am. I am having my breakfast. I'm being a good girl. Next week's show will be taking my supplements. No, I'm kidding. You're too much, Angie. Catherine says, isn't it great? Love how they presented it. Yes. I have, nothing to say. Yeah. Just all of it. Wonderful. Speaking of costumes, Catherine, I watched Coming to America 2. And although I think the movie is kind of, as far as story, as far as content, it doesn't really, but the costumes are beautiful and the people are gorgeous. And it's great to see actors that I knew as a kid. And it's great to see Eddie Murphy. He looks good. He looks good. But it's great to see the people in it. And so that was joy. It really delivers when it comes to seeing cool people, beautiful people, crazy people, and the costumes are off the chain. Just gorgeous. So if you want to watch it, I highly encourage it. I highly encourage you to check it out. Stitch is my hero. Yeah. Also Groot. Come on, Daniel. Be real. Stitch and Groot are your heroes. And if I asked you long enough, you probably had a few other heroes as well, right? Yeah, they are lovely. Stitch is adorable, though. Speaking of someone who comes down to earth and is judged, not people aren't curious about him. They've made a judgment about old Stitch. And then along comes a little girl who does nothing but love him and changes his life. The story never gets old. Never gets old. Good morning, everyone, says Bonnie. Running late this morning. I see where we're discussing WandaVision. Whoop, whoop. Finished the last 2 episodes. I have no Marvel background either, but thought it was fun. I'm hoping, I turned to my husband and I said, Bonnie, I hope they do more like this, because one of the things that was extra special for me was being able to cuddle next to my husband with a bowl of popcorn or a breakfast and watch it together. And then turn to him and say, questions about certain things. Or sometimes he'll stop it because he'll say, I think you need to know this one thing. And then should I go further? And I'll say, nope, got it. But very interesting. Very, very interesting. He talked to me a lot about Doctor Strange. And honestly, I love Cumberbatch as an actor, but I'm not that impressed with Doctor Strange. I mean, he can move between worlds. My husband tells me I did see that. But what I really love is Doctor Strange's cape. I think his cape is wonderful. So I'll go watch it for the cape and my husband will go watch it for the doc. But yeah, so to each their own, right? And in WandaVision, I got to tell you, it was such a good marriage for me, a beautiful sandwich, if you will, that my husband and I could both enjoy. And I'm so grateful for them doing it. And I hope they do. They follow. Every Marvel thing does not have to be this Marvelite, so don't panic. But I would love that every so often they do something like WandaVision for people like us, because it was so lovely to sit with my husband and actually be vested in what he was watching when it comes to superheroes. I just really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I loved Agatha. I really did. And I don't think that's a spoiler either. I just think she's cool. Hello, Terry Clark. How are you? You ordered a pin and it's coming. Forgive me. It was going to come over the weekend, but I had some challenges this weekend. I'm just going to say it. What did your husband say when you told him there was another one? Haha, surprised as well. Yeah, well, I mean, think about this, Bonnie. Think about this. I'm going to my husband because of you guys and telling him there's another episode. When what usually happens? What usually happens is he tells me. So he was like, really? And then he went right to Disney Plus and looked it up. And sure enough, he goes, you're right. I said, well, hey, you can't take my word for it. I listened to you guys. And thank you for telling me that. In fact, it was so great on Friday. Leo called it episode 8. Then you guys said, no, 9. I just read the comments and learned everything I needed to know. So to you guys, because it was a lovely surprise for the weekend, especially since my weekend was a little nuts and didn't go the way I wanted it to. Welcome to COVID. Not complaining, just should be. You think I'd be used to it by now, right? Nope. Leslie says she watched WandaVision with no background, no one to tell me anything. I simply watched and absorbed. And Leslie, did you like it? Because you can do that. Okay. You understand that I could have easily watched WandaVision A to Z, not knowing much of anything. Okay. And still enjoyed it because it was that good for someone like me. The bonus was that my husband was there. If I did have a question or he felt there was something he thought I should know, he would stop it or he would tell me afterwards. He would kind of elaborate or he would talk to me and we'd watch it again. I actually want to watch it from the first episode to the last episode again, all the way straight through, because I think it would be just that so much fun. But I've really come to love Wanda and Vision. I really, really, really like those characters. And I really enjoyed watching it. So I'm glad that I can revisit it again and see it again. So Leslie, let me know if you enjoyed it by yourself. We thought that about April 1st. Yeah. April Fools. That would be mean of Disney to do that. I'm not going to say that's what they're thinking because they wouldn't do that to you. Woot, woot. I received mine this weekend. Hour and a half wait, not too bad, says Bonnie. Congratulations. I cheer every time someone gets a vaccine. Whoop, 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 whoop. I don't get one, but I will. Okay. It's coming for us, right? But it's funny because I'm 63 and I'm too young. You just gotta go. Really? But it's okay. It's all right. It's cool. In fact, my stepson is a teacher. So he got his first appointment and he's very young. He's in his 30s, but he's a teacher. Teachers are getting them now. Whoop, 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 because I happen to agree with the teachers, okay? You may be a parent and want your kids to go to school, but personally, I have it by a leading authority, my friend Holly McKenzie, who has 2 little kids, that kids are petri dishes and they bring home viruses, sicknesses, and a lot of cookie stuff all over them. And she said the one good thing about being isolated was that they have not been sick in over a year since the pandemic. And she used to be sick every other week because her little kids brought home all kinds of stuff. So I agree with the teachers. It's not too much to ask for a teacher to be vaccinated before they head back to the classroom. So let's move them right up there with essential workers and get them vaccinated. It seems to be all they're asking. So let's stop getting on their case because they want to be safe. Teachers get enough flack as it is. They never get enough pay. So let's cut them some slack. I think their union is holding tough, and I'm glad they are because, I don't have kids, okay? The closest thing to a little kid is my husband's son, who I think of as my own. Of course, now he's 30, 34, 35 years old. But he's a teacher, and he teaches college, so he doesn't have to worry about little kids. But he teaches college, and luckily now he got the notification that he can now sign up for a vaccine, and he's getting his first one. So I'm so excited. I always cheer when someone gets a vaccine. So I'm doing a lot of this. I'm doing a lot of, whoop, whoop. Bob Burdine and Rose tell me they get it. I'm going, whoop, whoop, Michael, his mom, whoop, whoop, I'm just dancing all the time because I'm happy y'all are getting it, okay? It will become a time when we, the younger generation, can get it, So it's supposed to be coming. So cool. I'm very excited. And Catherine agrees, and I agree with her too. California chose April 1st as the earliest possible date for theme parks to open. Disneyland did not. Disneyland and other parks will choose the dates that work for them after April 1st. Yeah, Leslie, they said April 1st. I read it. Not to argue with you, but I agree with you. It's going to be after April 1st. I just feel, I'll say it again, I feel they should have said October. And then, surprise, we're going to open. I've just found it easier on people, okay? I was speaking with a restaurant that I love out on the coast of the California coast called Gladstone's for Fish. It's up in Malibu. Love this restaurant. I love it because it's got a beautiful view and it has a seagull named Gary. So both of those factors are really wonderful. And more about, if you want to learn more about Gary, just ask me Friday about Gary the seagull. But I spoke with the head, the what do you call the person that's in charge of the food and stuff, but not the chef? Anyway, I spoke with him, and he said one of the challenges that they have at a restaurant is you've got to order the product to serve. And if they keep saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, it's hard for you to project how much product you need in order to serve your guests. You got to figure out how many guests. It's minimal guests, but when they close it, that food will spoil. So I think it would be better to go. In fact, Gladstone said to me that they actually waited a few more days because they were afraid California would pull back again. So they waited a little bit before they actually opened. And then once they saw things were kind of going really well, they went ahead, ordered their stuff, and they were open again for outdoor dining. But I love this restaurant. I love the people there. I support them as much as I can. And but you can see why a restaurant doesn't want to have come here, get away, get away. Some of us, like me, the come here, get away Imagineer, are cool with that. But when you gotta, order your components, your tools, your stuff you work with, this can be very, very challenging. So why not give us the worst case scenario? And that way you won't disappoint us if by some reason, April 1st, you won't be able to open. Don't say April Fools. Just don't do it. Thank you for your comment, Leslie. What's the story on the mermaid tail behind you? Everyone asks that. So here's what's going to happen on Friday at the AMA. Okay. This mermaid tail actually works in the ocean. I actually swam in it. So what I'm going to do on Friday is I'm going to show you my process, because creating this mermaid tail from drawing to swimming tail is what I showed Disney Imagineering back in 1987 when I applied for the job. This is what I showed them, the process. So last Friday, I talked about how if you want to apply to Imagineering, let's say you find out that you get to be an Imagineer and you choose what you want to do. Okay. So, look it up and choose what you want to do, and then start doing it. If you want to design an attraction or something, I would just do it, put it on social media, and share your dream as well. And Disney will find you and invite you. When you go in, it's better not just to have photos of what you've done, but the process. So I had lots of sculptures, lots of films that I worked on, because I did a lot of sculpting for the film industry. But my mermaid tail was my process, A to Z. I showed them where I drew it. I showed them where I designed the armature in order to make it, the molds, A to Z. Why? Because it's kind of like doing your algebra. The teachers never like to see the answer without the work. Imagineers are the same, because you could easily put a photo that's not yours in there, i.e. Edith Head. Okay. Edith Head took her roommate's portfolio, not her portfolio, but her roommate's, to get a job and start her on the path to being an amazing costumer. She did this because she didn't draw very well. She was great at the costumes, but she didn't draw very well. And so she borrowed her roommate's portfolio, claiming it as her own, and she got the job. Okay. Based on the drawings, because her roommate could draw. But that's why a lot of times Disney, at least in Imagineering, they don't necessarily tell you they want to see the work. That's kind of a little secret. But if you do that, that is a bump. That's something that I just don't think anyone doesn't appreciate seeing the work. Seeing how your brain works. I did the same thing when I worked for Mattel, the toy company. And then they sat me in a chair and watched me work. Okay. Which is really chilling. Okay. I don't recommend it. Going to Mattel, they sat me in a chair and then they looked at me like I was a fish in a fishbowl as you try to sculpt, nothing like pressure, right? But again, the point is they like to see your A to Z. Okay. So, but you can do that on social media. You can, like, for example, let's say you decide you want to create an attraction to go where Splash Mountain is, and you're not too keen on Princess and the Frog. You want to do something different. Well, you could actually build it at your house, in your home, either a 3D model or do it in a 3D modeling program or paint it or whatever, illustrate it, sketch it, whatever you do, whatever you want to do it. And then you post it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, talk about it, and you say this is what you want to do for Imagineering. You need to share your dream as much as you share your art, because we don't know, looking in from the outside, what you want us to do. Yeah. So we look at all these pictures on Instagram, and if you don't say anything, we're just going to like them, like lemmings, right? Because that's what we're told is what people like. But if you share your dream and say, hey guys, my dream is to be an Imagineer, and here's an example of what I would do if I was an Imagineer, or fill in the blank for whatever you do, you're going to, they're looking through the internet. And the nice thing is the stuff on the internet's time-stamped. So it's not like they could easily take it from you. You know what I mean? So that's my thought there, right? And you can do this at any level. You can do this at any, it can be anything. There are people, I think it's the rock group Journey, where the guy got on a YouTube and sang. He just sang. He could nail that lead singer. He sang a couple of songs. Well, as luck would have it for this person, the lead singer no longer the lead singer, and they saw him, they hired him, and he's the lead singer. So you never know who's watching you. Get it out there, because when I was applying to Disney Imagineering, I had to carry a portfolio that was pretty much bigger than me. Please, sir, may I have a job? And knock door to door, because there was no internet. So I'm saying we got it different now. You can have social media. You have ways to get to people everywhere. Use it. Use it. And if you ever want to, reach out to me or ask a question or whatever, I have my AMA. But the point is, this all came from the mermaid tail question. I wanted to be a mermaid. I was shooting a movie called Ghostbusters. I saw Splash. I found out the guy who built the tail for Splash with Daryl Hannah was on the Ghostbusters team, and I went to him and chatted with him a bit, and the next thing you know, I built this tail, and I've done several commercials with it. I did when I was younger. This tail is 40 years old, because remember when Splash was? So I built it within, I think, a year after Splash came out. So she's an old girl. But she has the right to be here, because she should have been gone. She should have been gone long ago. There really is no reason she should still be, because they told me she would disintegrate after 10 years, and she's now 40 years back here. But if you're interested in knowing about the process it took for me to build the mermaid tail, and you want that mermaid tail story, I will share it with you this Friday during my AMA, which starts at 9:25 Pacific. Okay. Thereabouts, because I know I was a couple minutes late today, so full disclosure. Good morning. Well, hello, Michael Joseph Luzzy. How are you? Good to see you. Susie. Yes, Susie won a pin. So Susie is a member of Terry's Tribe on Patreon. And when I do a giveaway, everyone gets a chance at the giveaway. So Susie wasn't even there, and she got a pin. Yay! So thank you for telling me that, Susie. I'm glad it made that there safely. I don't feel it's negative thinking if they don't open April 1st, just reality. Bonnie, yeah, I've tried. I mean, I have a little teeny grain of hope for all of you who really need Disneyland to open, that it does open. I'm just really sorry it's only going to be for California residents. That's kind of a drag, because one of my dearest friends, she really needs a dose of Disneyland, and she doesn't live in California, so it's like, but at least, it's going to open. I don't think you're being negative. I believe you're being practical. They have food to get in, rehires, retraining, and yeah, I think it was Magic Mountain that invited a bunch of people to come and get ready to do all of that, and I think it was I don't know, is Knott's doing the same thing? You guys will have to tell me. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, it's really too soon. I'm sorry, Disneyland. I wish I could be more of a believer, but it's too soon. I have to agree with you, Tracy. Robin O'Toole, how are you? How does that work with Touch of Disney? Well, this is a good question, Robin. How does it work with Touch of Disney? Now, Touch of Disney is at California Adventure Park. And as I've mentioned before, California Adventure Park was created with space in mind. Now, they didn't have a lot of space, but they knew one of the challenges that they had with the parades at Disneyland was we're close. Okay, we're kind of so if people sit on the curb to watch the parades, people have a real hard time walking if they're not interested in watching the parade. They want to still get to the castle or Adventureland or whatever. It's too tight. In California Adventure, they have worked on that problem because they're Imagineers. They made the streets wider so that they could actually have bigger productions because they saw in Walt Disney World how much y'all love this. And also, they made the sidewalks a lot wide, the traveling areas, so that you could get to various areas if you weren't interested in seeing a parade. So that's the cool thing, is that California Adventure has more space. So Touch of Disney allows them to do kind of what Knott's Berry Farm is doing, where you get some foods and you get to see the characters. You get to wave at them, I think. I don't know, you can actually pose with them, but you get to wave at them and, take pictures maybe in front of them. They're back here, you're here. I don't know exactly how it works. I haven't gone. But that's the way it kind of works. And then you have Downtown Disney, which is also built with space in mind. Okay. When Disney was designed, you have to remember 1955, that it was on this little orange grove. It was very intimate. And now we have to take something out in order to put something in at Disneyland. So for example, to create Galaxy's Edge, that barbecue place, which was so good, ranch place, gone. And also where they had the horses and things that you used to be able to go and see the horses, learn about the animals and stuff. So cool, because that's the way Disney has to be. It has to be one thing out, one thing in, because it's so small, because it was the first park. It's the park that Walt built. So it's a must-see, absolute must-see. When it finally does open, if you've never been, you got to come and check it out, because it is an intimate jewel of a park. It will not be the mass of Walt Disney World and the Magic Kingdom, but it's still worth it because it's where Walt walked, okay? You can actually recreate that picture that you all love, where Walt is walking out of the back of the castle, kind of pensive and, looking around. You can actually be Walt and have that exact same picture taken. So that's what I'm talking about. There are places that all of you that know where Walt stood, well, that you can actually recreate if the land is still here, okay? So that's my point. This is exactly my point. You can do things like Touch of Disney. There's more space, easier to social distance than Disneyland, which is going to be it's going to be hard. And not that they can't do it, okay? Imagineers can do anything. All right. I really believe that they can do it. I just, April 1st is so close. And April 1st, as Leslie Smith, April 1st is the kickoff date, which means that chances are, if they were to actually open, it would be for Club 33. People who are members of Club 33, because honestly, it needs to be. They pay a lot of money. They're still paying a lot of money, and they're not getting what they paid for. They pay to access Club 33, to be up there, to relax, to meet with their friends and everything in that nice, special, private area. So that's what I'm thinking. I really think that would be a good move. I hope I answered your question. Tracy says, being practical, they have to. Oh yes, she said that already, didn't I? I apologize for that. I went the wrong direction. Disneyland is where the magic was born, as Daniel DeMeyer says it. Yes, but again, the magic was born in a little small net. I mean, if you have been to Disneyland and you have to walk past, this is one of the things that actually drove me a little crazy, is you have to walk past the the Hungry Bear Diner. People are sitting at tables as you're making your way towards Galaxy's Edge. It's just weird. It's weird. It just doesn't work. However, that being said, when I went to Walt Disney World and went to Galaxy's Edge, you had to walk through Toy Story. It makes no sense. Walt worked so hard to make things sort of flow and into each other, so they kind of had rhyme or reason as one went into the other, much like the Adventureland sort of going up into New Orleans and stuff. There was this really nice blend, and now it's like it's like a jump cut. You walk through the Hungry Bear, you're in Galaxy's Edge. I'm sorry, it's weird. Sharon says, are you going to Touch of Disney? My ticket is April 1st. Totally picked the date for no reason. April Fool's Day. Sharon, I have been invited by a group to be a part of their group. They are in a bubble, and I told them if I had my vaccine, I would consider it. But I live with someone who's high risk, my husband, and so I don't know if I'll go. And I told them I was very sorry, and that if they really wanted to use that ticket on the day, it's actually the last day. I think it's April 8th. Very sweet of them to invite me, because I wouldn't go because they're so limited. These tickets are so limited, but they had an extra one and they invited me to be a part of it. So I will do it if the vaccine is supposed to open up for others mid-March. So the 15th, the 17th, be nice if it was St. Patrick's Day. I'd love that. But we'll see. And we'll see if I'm even included in that group. It may only be high-risk people. And then that's my husband. So we're just going to see. If I don't have the vaccine, though, I can't go. And the reason I can't go is because it threatens his life, and I won't do that. I won't do it. It's not worth it. And there's plenty of y'all that want to go. So you really deserve to go. I haven't been to DLR. I haven't been to DLR in almost 4 years. Deanna, it's changed a little bit. It really is a fun place. And I'm always making new little discoveries, maybe not necessarily at Disneyland, but when I go with people like you, or I go to meet people like you, many collectors and fans, that's one of the reasons I had my pass, is to come. I'd do a signing. We'd walk around together. We'd chat, whatever. I love seeing it through your eyes because you're all so different, and it was a lot of fun. But one of the places that I kind of like discovered in a different way was Trader Sam's. I just love Trader Sam's. If I would sneak away from Disneyland if I was feeling a bit overwhelmed and sit at Trader Sam's, like pretty much by myself in their off hours, and have something to drink, something yummy to drink that they had, and just chill. I just think it is I love Trader Sam's. I just think it is one of the most fun places to be. So I'd gone to Trader Sam's, I think one other time or 2 or 3 other times with people, but it was a different atmosphere. And so this just kind of hit me really well when I was there, probably in 2019. And I was just so touched by it that I like to go there. So Trader Sam's is cool. I love the Haunted Mansion, says Robin. I know you do. You're not alone, Robin. George lost his father. Oh, no. I did not know that, Deanna. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to write that down. I got to go. I got to send him I'm so sorry, George. Oh, that's not easy to lose a loved one. That's just so rough. It's always rough losing someone you love. Thank you for telling me, Deanna. George has been such a wonderful support. He's really had my back a couple of times, and I really appreciate it. He's he's quite a guy. So I'm going to have to at least send him a little shout out, because that's too bad. He's a great fella. How do we order it? If you're talking about the pin, the ghosts, whatever I said before, you go to my website, terryharden.com, and you click in the bar above, you'll see a bar, and it's the online store, and you can see it right there. As a matter of fact, let me just see if I can go there now. I'm going to do it a little different. Here we go. terryharden.com. Going there now. Here we are. Okay, so let me see if I can. There we go. Okay, so there's my website. It's going to change, okay? I'm in process working with my web designer. She's super busy right now. We're going to change this up here. There's a few changes I want to do. But up in the top bar, you see up here where it says Cache Art, Event Calendar, About Terry, blah, blah, blah. See Online Store? You click on Online Store. It'll take you to the store and you can look at everything. And you can pick what you want to buy and you can buy it. Woohoo! Yay! So simple and easy. Instead of putting in a long list of things that you might get wrong, just go there. Okay. Now, I think that bar is going to pretty much stay the same, but like I said, she's been very busy. And so I have been long time in getting what I wanted down. And so my husband and I actually sat with a couple of people on Terry's tribe that helped me out. One of them is Chris McCulley. Shout out to him. He was very helpful. And my husband. And so we actually did a map, like a little bit of a road map for my web designer so that she could stop having a mental breakdown, because I can't make up my mind as an artist. Websites are personal, almost like a logo. And she was so relieved, but now she's so busy that she's trying really hard to get to that. I think the funny thing is she gave me a deadline, an ultimatum. She said, by the end of March, you better have it done or I'm going to charge you more to finish building it out. And her business exploded when she did that. I was working really hard, and she told me that February 1st. I worked really hard to get her a bunch of stuff, and now she hasn't been able to do it because she's busy. So far be it from me to push her when she's been so patient with me. Grain of salt. And I told her, in fact, I wrote her not too long ago and said, well, what about that March 31st deadline? She said, don't worry about it. I'm going to have to push it back. And I was like, okay, no problem. So grain of salt. So that's how you do it, Robin. I hope that's what you were asking. If not, ask me again. We are really glad your mom and dad didn't listen. Thank you, Tracy. That's so sweet. It was a challenge for them. They lived in California, my parents, and they couldn't get married in California. They had to go to Mexico to get married. And there was a time, I think it was about, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I think it was like 7 or 8. And my parents had this really worried look on their faces. And that's because California at one point said they weren't sure they were going to honor marriages that had gone to Mexico and come back in. They wanted you to be married in the U.S. But then they said, no, that's stupid. And they honored it. So, but it really scared my parents. They were like, what? We're not married? But they're okay. Yeah. Terry, glad you love the Haunted Mansion. And I know you do. Thankfully, as more of his mom in him, he said Charles wouldn't answer his calls. Apparently, they are talking to each other. We're talking about Prince Harry now, and they are speaking, but it's strained. This happens, guys. Okay, it's basically showing us that even a prince has challenges. Okay, and even a prince father prince and a son prince have problems. So, as a dad, there can be challenges with your children, and as a child, there can be problems with your parents. And it can crisscross. Sometimes you don't speak to each other for a while, and then other times it works out just fine. So, my mother used to be the most poison for me. It was really hard for me to come and see my mom because I could do nothing right. And she used to just pick out all my shortcomings. And I finally sat down and said, why am I calling to get beaten up every time? So I had to make a very strong decision. And that was that, I prayed about it, to be quite honest about it. I prayed about it, and I really got the message that there had to be distance between me and my mom. That was so hard because she's my mom. And, but it just wasn't, it was not good for me mentally. It was just really hard. And then a funny thing happened. I really thought that the Lord would take her and I wouldn't get to know my mom, that she would be taken from me because we weren't speaking. I would send her something every Christmas and every Mother's Day and her birthday, but that's it. I would not communicate. And this happened probably for a good 4 or 5 years. It's really hard. And I kind of thought, if she goes, we will not have got to fix it or rectify it in any way. And then she started to become ill. And by ill, she started to have this this challenge in her life, lymphedema, where the legs swell up. And we don't know exactly what caused it, but she started to have that. And then as she got older, she started to have a memory issue. The caregiver, she's at a convalescent hospital now. She's been there for 3 years. She hasn't walked in over 3 years. But before that, she was in and out of hospital, in and out. This has been happening since easily 2004. So it's been in and out and in and out. She was able to go to my wedding, but then shortly after that, it was rough. And she was really hard on my dad, and it really bothered me. And so all of this negative, really bad energy, someone constantly telling you everything that's wrong with you and nothing positive. And it was really hard. And it was really hard to hear her do this to my father, who is the salt of the earth, is a gem among gems. And things happened. And then my mother started to get sundowners, which means that her memory isn't really sharp as the sun goes down. This apparently happens with some people when they get older. It's not really dementia or Alzheimer's. It's just something that happens when the sun goes down. And the caregiver told me, there's no real it just is. So, but what happened was she gets this and she becomes this absolutely nice person. It's as though God reached in her head, made her a little softer, and she became this really nice person. For the first time in the history of my life, she actually thanked me for being a good daughter. It hit me so hard I had to sit down because she never did that. It was always. So now, fast forward, my mom and I she's been ill with this since 2005, 2004, somewhere in there. And when she really got hit with this sort of memory thing, that was around 2006. So from 2006 till now, we actually have a relationship where we can actually be in the same room and talk to each other. She thanks me. She tells me she loves me. And it's weird. I'm going to tell you, it's weird because I've been so long without that. Every time we came together, I could only tolerate her for about 10 minutes before I couldn't handle it anymore. And she was really good with everyone except for me and my sister. So what would happen is people would say, your mother is so wonderful. Have you had this before? And any family member, they're so wonderful. We don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, yeah, right. Well, I'm family. Okay. So I don't count. So basically, this was my challenge with my mom, and now I have to tell you that I am my gratitude every day with gratitude, and I thank God every day for giving me my mother back, because we actually have these long conversations and really joyful conversations and sweet conversations. I take her donuts every couple of weeks because I believe once you hit 80, all bets are off. You want to eat donuts for the rest of your life, that's your business. You've paid your dues on earth. Whatever you want. You want to drink coffee, you want to eat, I don't care. I'm not going to tell you how to eat. That's your choice because you're 80 or 90. That's up to you. You want to be healthy, you be healthy. You don't, whatever. And my mother loves donuts and coffee. So at the convalescent hospital, she refused to walk about 3 years ago, and she hasn't walked since. So she's there, and I don't think she's going to come out, but I get to go and visit her as often as possible until the pandemic. Now the pandemic keeps me from her, and my father from her. That's the part that's kind of sad. My dad was able to, he would go and visit my mother every day, and he hasn't been able to do that. But the caregiver told us about Google Duo. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it doesn't matter whether you have an iPhone or an Android phone, and you can group the family together. And my 80-year-old parents are not really that. My dad's pretty good, but technology, me and so you can group the people together, and when one of them calls someone else, you can then add us by just pushing a little button. It'll say, do you want to add the other two in that bubble? And it says yes. So we talk often, all of us together. My sister lives in Hawaii, so she feels a bit lonely, being all the way in Hawaii. Paradise is a drag if you're by yourself and you can't swim with somebody, because it can be very dangerous if you're by yourself. So she feels a bit lonely, so it's all of us together. And we do that. We're destined. We got to do it again because I haven't done it in a while. But my dad was so excited to see my mom on a video call, and my sister was really happy to see my mother too. And of course I was too. So this is really cool. This is really a cool thing. And I'm happy that it all worked out. So back to Charles, they are talking, but it's strained, he said. It will get better. Okay. You've got to let your children do what they're going to do. And it's hard. Believe me, it's not easy. You want them not to have the pain that you do. And Charles mentions that his father went through similar things with his mother, Diana. So he was really shocked when his father behaved the way he did towards him. He just wasn't prepared, because he said, you're in the same boat. Me with Meghan, you with Mom. So if you haven't seen Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, this was a movie that as a little girl really was life-changing for me. But it's a similar situation, guys, and it's a great movie to watch. It's about a young white girl who falls in love with a black man and how the parents react. So it's beautiful, and it's my favorite movie, and I want you to really watch the performance of Sidney Poitier plays the young man who's marrying the beautiful daughter, and his mother. I want you to watch the performance by his mother if you haven't seen it. The woman who plays Sidney Poitier's mom in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is absolutely touching, phenomenal, and amazing. And she is all wrapped up in that wonderful human being is my family on my dad's side, the black half of the family. So I love that movie. That movie is just great, but it'll kind of give you an idea of what Prince Harry went through, because he went to his dad thinking his dad was going to react, because it was the same in Harry's mind. And then his dad reacted differently. But his dad is a royal, and Harry's a royal, but a young royal. So, grain of salt, guys, grain of salt. That's all I'm going to say. I didn't think I was going to get my mother, and then I did. So you never know. I was not surprised about the Queen either. A friend of mine in London said Philip is very outspoken and says whatever he feels, doesn't care. Who does that sound like? Yeah, I think, I remember in 1977, I shot over to the UK and backpacked, and the main reason was I wanted to see the Queen's Silver Jubilee. I wanted to see what the Queen looked like. She's an amazing woman, and I mean, first of all, who dresses as well as her, man? Woo! She knows how to dress. Her hats are stunning. She's just amazing. But I figured to be the matriarch that she is, she's got to be, you know. I don't think the crown really captures it as well. I don't think that you can actually capture this. I think it's great. I'm glad the Queen gives us some sort of the show gives us some sort of peek. But honestly, the royal family is the royal family. Heavy is the crown. You know, it's not easy. So she always is. She seems genuine. And I remember that in part of the interview with Harry, Oprah was surprised to hear that Harry felt trapped. And he said, why? Because every photo you saw, every interview you saw, I was smiling and being kind. He said, hello, that's my job. That's my job. And what does that mean? Never let them see you sweat, and the back of the house stays secret. Okay? So we get it. And I love you, Prince Harry. I'm proud of you. I am so sorry you had to go through that, Terry. No, sweetie, this is what I'm talking about. I'm so fortunate to be born of, my mother, Lois, and my dad, Dick Harden. Can you imagine someone naming your dad? Don't make me go there. But both of them were forward thinking, were supportive, were loving. They thought, as an artist, they were dazzled. My mother just didn't know how to work with me because I was this obsessive creative that was creating so much. She got so lost, and my dad just put his arm around her and said, let her fly. Don't clip her wings, just let her fly. We'll see where she's going. So I have really supportive parents when I was a kid. There wasn't anything I couldn't do, and I did some weird stuff. I was always coming up with weird things to do. I mean, seriously. And that's another question. You can say, name some weird things you did as a kid that your parents had no idea how to even relate to your nuttiness, and you will be right. And if you have a child like this or know a child like this, let them be, because they are future Imagineer material. Catherine Perry, oh, you're so sweet. You've heard, thank you, Bonnie. You've heard Bob Burdine talk about Bob Gurr. Well, Bob Gurr, it was one of these kids who would take things apart as a young child. But the cool thing is he would put them back and they would function exactly like they did. But here's the weird part. He would take them apart, build something else that functioned really well. So again, is it any surprise that Bob Gurr is not only a legend, but was one of the ultimate Imagineers? It just stands to reason. I could tell you all kinds of stories about the Imagineers talking about what they did as kids versus, and there's a pattern of nutty kids that were just these obsessive creatives that just took things and made things from unusual, we just make something from nothing and we're 12, and be like, what? You know who they are. We all exist, but we didn't know it was unusual. We didn't know it was unique. We didn't know we were unicorns. And we have to embrace our unicornness if we are a unicorn. If we are unusual, if we're different, if we're not like everybody else, we must embrace that and just say, okay, and then share as much as we can to point out that you could be a unicorn too if you don't let that speak in your head poison you. Okay. Yeah, you could be a unicorn too. My sister went through the same type of thing in the 80s. Yeah. Yes, indeed. And we don't want to complain about it. We just want to point it out. Why? Because we don't want science to repeat itself, do we? We really don't want to repeat our bad behavior. And if you erase everything from the past, how are you going to know not to repeat that which you've done before if you don't know what you don't know. So, another sweet smile. I'm adopted and my entire family is white, says Bonnie. My mom used to tell people, sometimes I do still for giggles, that I was just left in the oven too long. Bonnie, you are so cute. Your mom is a hoot. Was that your mom? Yes, she's a hoot. Your mom's a hoot. Okay, so my sister, who let me show you what my sister looks like. Okay, because Bonnie, you just broke free another mental thing in my head. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna find it. I want my picture of my sis. That's what I'm looking for. A picture of my sister. Of my sister. You gotta see my sister. Here's my sister. There's my sister. So you can see that my sister is she's just a beautiful young woman. And if I hide this for just a moment, Bonnie, we're in Hawaii and we're learning how to play the ukulele. I wanted her to have something that would lift her spirits, and so there we are. But my sister and I would go to an ice skating rink. And my sister was training for the Olympics. She was really, really good, and I was more like the albatross. You ever seen the albatross bird try to fly? That was me on the ice. I was good, but not like her. She was amazing. So the two of us are standing next to each other, and somebody comes up. Now, what did I tell you about people in their mouths? The woman comes up. She looks at my sister and I. I think my sister is about 7 and I'm about 11. And the person says, "Which one of you is adopted?" Hello? And you are? I love it. I mean, this just cracks me up. Okay. Which one of you is adopted? And we say, neither. We're sisters. And the person goes, no, you're not sisters. Why do you ask a question and then you're going to tell us what you think? But she says, you're not sisters. And I said, I know. We're as different as night and day. So just like Bonnie says about her mother saying the oven too long, I said we're as different as night, my sister, and day, me. So I say, yay, Bonnie. Good one. Good one. I love them both. Exactly. That's really funny. I love Oprah's interview. It was very interesting. Cannot wait for the part 2. Isn't the part 2 going to be, though, wasn't that this morning? Or am I wrong, Angie? The part 2, when does the part 2 air? Because I thought she was going to elaborate on it today, CBS this morning. But I don't know if that's the case. I was going to go hunt it down after this, but if there is a part 2, please let me know because I'd love to see part 2. To have the Pony Express pass by, but those stories are golden. Okay. One of the reasons I wasn't good at history in school was because I had my grandpa. My grandpa's stories about history were unbelievable. Take a moment, if you will, to understand my grandfather was born in 1874. And he died in 1974. So to put that in perspective for you, Pony Express, the invention of the car, all the way up to landing on the moon, he saw every single invention. I remember sitting with my grandfather and saying, I hope my years are exciting as your span of years, because you've seen everything, the radio, to TV, to telephone, to Xerox machine, to washing machine, to car, to airplane, etc., to landing on the moon, right? Well, after he passed away, I took a look at this and said, wow, we landed on the moon in 1969. And then the wall came down, the Berlin Wall came down. And then we have a spaceship that can go and come back, a space station that's international. Now we have a commercial flight. Now we're talking about a hotel in space. We've landed on Mars. I think I got my wish, and I still have a lot more to go. So, I mean, and need we forget the phone, the little computer in your hand that you can look up stuff that has maps inside, that the whole computer in your hand. Make a phone call for not that lot of money across the globe instead of it costing $1,000. I think yeah, wow. Just wow. Yeah, wow. And the more I discovered, the more I'm in awe of this span that I call Terry's life. So, wow, I think I got my wish. That's awesome that your dad had the honor of being the first. Yeah. Yeah. You guys know, I'll remember it in a minute. I just lost the comments, so I gotta. Whoa, you guys are talking today. Y'all are full of talking. Mwah, I love you for that. Floyd Norman was the first Black animator at the Disney Studios, and he really felt funny about people calling him that. But he and my father met, and the two of them hit it right off. Surprise! Because first Black Telephone Man and then Floyd, and they just huddled in a corner and talked. Not because they were the first, but because they were two men who came from that kind of generation. And they talked about what it was like. And they talked about other things too. But they really hit it off. And that was a cool thing. Yes, it was very cool. I remember Gary Owens. Indeed. Yes, he was my Uncle Gary. So I'll have to see if I have a picture of me. I was at the San Diego Comic-Con 1980 when the costume contest only lasted 2 hours and it only took up half of the convention center. It's nothing like it is now. So much nicer. But anyway, I won for Phoenix 2772, which was an anime character designed by the father of anime, Dr. Osamu Tezuka. And I did this character called Olga, and she won Best in Show. And I can show that too. Just remind me in the Ask Me Anything, and I'll pull it up. But yeah, so Gary ended up being the announcer that year, Gary Owens. And when I walked across the stage, he read my name and about at a, conniption fit. But then he saw me walk across the stage as my character, and he just couldn't believe it because we had known each other for years because of my dad. So that was kind of a full circle thing. I like those full circle things that happen. Maybe that's why I think those wedding rings in Where's Wanda are in WandaVision is really cool, because full circle is so cool, so awesome. Good morning, Frank. How are you? Homeless, Terry? Are you homeless? It's not the 10th yet. It's only the 8th. Aren't you jumping the gun a little bit, buddy? Homeless or cat lady, what's your preference? I think I'd just be a cat lady. Yeah. Homeless, yeah. By myself, yeah, no. They're courageous. They are indeed. Dad and mom are doing fine. My dad is being taken care of by the entire neighborhood in which he lives in. He says he's got more food than he knows what to do with. He's done his first vaccine and his second one is on the way. Everybody loves my father because what's not to love? And my mother is in a convalescent hospital that they hope will be able to open up and start having visitors once we can get vaccinated. Everyone in the convalescent hospital has been vaccinated. Caregivers, everyone in the one that my mother's at. So yay, I cheer a lot that they're safe. They're good. Amen. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Michael, she is. She's not only the bomb, she's extremely talented. So I love sharing my journey because I think that painters like her and there's just so many in our tribe that paint or they draw or they sketch or they sculpt or they clean or they do work with numbers or they are a mom. They're just, everyone is so creative in this group, and you don't have to be creative. You may want to learn to be creative. Terry's tribe is the place to do it because everyone is so generous. And Bob Burdine is right, and Michael too. They're both two generous people too. The gray palette makes so much sense hearing this. It does sound so obvious. It does, so obvious the teacher didn't mention it. But that happens when you teach. If you haven't taught in a while, sometimes you go over things, you forget little tiny things, and the beginner says, but wait, you didn't mention that. And then you feel bad as a teacher. Don't feel bad. It's just their way of teaching you, which is so nice. You need to learn with the color she asked to learn with, exactly, Deanna, because if you don't, you're going to add another cord of wood to your back, and you're going to sit there and blame yourself. Okay, this happens with pumpkin sculpting. I had somebody who said, why can't I just buy a pumpkin at the market? And I said, I don't want you to buy a pumpkin at the market, because then you're not going to feel successful when I teach you how to sculpt a pumpkin. I want you to be successful. So invest in the pumpkin I tell you to invest in, and you will see the light, believe me. And if not, I'll give you your money back. So that's kind of, I think it's so cool that you're learning to paint. Yeah, well, pressure's on. We'll see. Now, I will say that I did a retreat, and I invited Janny G to come down and teach a class, because that was her dream. And one of the things when you share your dreams with me and she's a patron, but we met well before that. But when we were at this retreat that I do, and I do this retreat with only 10 people, and then I help you make a living doing what you love, or I just kind of help you fine tune your mindset. And it's really fun. We spend a weekend together, and we eat, we break bread, we talk, we do all kinds of things, and we work. So Jenny mentioned that she wanted to be an instructor, and she wanted to teach. And so I invited her. I brought her down for my second retreat, and she taught us how to paint like she does. It was so much fun. Now, here's the thing. If you can do this for someone else, if someone shares a dream and you can help implement it. So any of you out there that know Clint Eastwood, I'd just like to have a 20-minute session with them. I have a lot to say. I really want to meet Clint Eastwood. So I'm just throwing that out there because I told you to throw it out there. So I'm throwing it out there. I really want to meet him. I'm actually willing to donate to his favorite charity if he'll just give me 20 minutes of his time, because I really, really want to talk to him. I have so much that I want to share and thank him for. Anyway, I'm digressing. So Janny did this painting class, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk over here and I'm going to pull the painting. That we did. And honestly, guys, you can recognize it because it's my little dog Rocket. But it's done in the Janny style. So Janny uses recycled materials. She does stampings on it. She showed me how to do the stampings, which is here. This is like right here. This is like a pattern, and you put a stencil on and you paint through it, right? I still need to, full disclosure, Janny, I still need to pour the resin on it. I just haven't gotten around to it. But this is the little painting. It looks like my dog. I didn't do any drawing or anything first. I just painted it freehand because Janny said, go for it, sister. And I trusted her. And then here, you may not be able to see it. Let me try to show it to you here. Okay, let's see if I can show it to you better here. Here you see there's like a paper of map. That's a map right there. And then this is like cranes for good luck. You see that? Those are wrapping papers that Janny taught us to stick on. And then on the top here is a little wood thing that she said I could stick, you stick it on, and you just kind of play. I really dug the letters, the Scrabble letters. I like the Scrabble letters a lot. Then I did a little coat of sealer on it. And now, she does the resin. If you've seen her work, she then puts resin on the top of it. I just haven't, like my life is so busy. I haven't had a chance to do it, but there you have it. So I haven't totally not painted. It's just that, this was, something we did very quick, and, I love it. I love it because, first of all, Janny taught me, and it helped Janny because now Janny is teaching in Canada. She actually, she came down to our retreat and she taught us, and then she went back, and the next thing you know, boom, stuff started happening, right? So what is the takeaway here, as I like to say? What do you take away from this? A step in any direction. This is what I tell my people at my little retreat. So there's only 10 people getting together. They are an investment but one where well worth it. Trust me. You get to spend time with me and 9 other girls or guys or whatever. Nah, it's kind of a mix. But anyway, a step in any direction, even if it's the wrong one, creates momentum. So take that step. Go through that door of opportunity and don't look back. It could create another opportunity. It could create something for you. Do not be the person that is holding yourself back, especially now with COVID-19 pandemic, and many of us are still under sort of a lockdown. It's a time to practice and do it. On my painting class, the teacher said, the people said, "Oh, I wish I was in class, because then I would have the teachers over me working." It's not really the way I like to work. Okay. Now I am an established artist. I get that, but I don't want someone hovering over me and kind of like, I've got to find my journey. I've got to make that journey myself. So give me the components. I'm going to follow along what you do and then leave me to do it. Okay. Don't look at it halfway or even a third of the way, because I'm not done yet. Okay. So I'm really happy this is a video course, because I'm free to experiment. And if I don't like it, I could start over, whatever I feel like doing. The problem with a class with everybody in it is that sometimes I see it in my peer group already. They're comparing themselves to other people. Don't do that. Your journey, Janny will agree, your journey, not anyone else's. You don't know where they're coming from, and you don't know what their goal is going to. So you can tell them their work is brilliant, of course, be sweet, be nice, but don't sit there and go, yours is so much better than mine. Apples and oranges. Okay. I'm a beginner. I don't know what mine's going to look like, but I know I want to be free and light. I don't want to put I don't want to weigh myself down with pressures. Okay. I don't want to weigh myself down with having the wrong paint color. All right. I don't want to weigh myself down by looking at other people's work and going, wow, that's really amazing. I can never do that. No. Blah, blah, blah. Get that out of your mouth. Okay. Because when you sit and you just have fun. Now, this was a class situation with my rocket, but I was completely wrapped up in my rocket while other people did birds, other people did things. And one of the people was my dear friend, Greta Jantz, who supplied her cabin for us to all do the retreat in. It was so much fun. I can't wait till we get to do it again, because I really miss I really miss everyone and doing this. But Greta had started painting also. And she had gone to a gallery. She confessed to us one time over dinner, and they kept telling her paintings weren't really gallery quality. I think that's a little vague. Your paintings aren't gallery quality. Well, what's gallery quality, you ask? And they're, well, not that. Well, that doesn't help you. Okay. So when she started to paint, she did this class with Janny, like me. She did the same class. She kind of let herself go, and something clicked in her head. I don't even know what it was, but she said she's loosened up and been a lot freer with her painting, and that's Janny's fault. So when you follow the teacher and do as the teacher says, you just never know what kind of explosion is going to be in your head. We're almost at we're over 2.5 hours, guys. We're really chatting today. Deanna says, when I learned how to tool paint in the 80s, the teacher gave us a list of colors we needed. And that's nice, because then you can follow along and know that your colors are going to match, or at least do what the teachers are doing. I know exactly what facial reconstruction is. I'm fascinated with it. Yes, Tracy, if you ever want to take the class, it is not an inexpensive class. It's an investment, but it's so fun. And 9 times out of 10, you're like, I was the only Disney artist there. Everyone else was a forensic scientist, anthropologist, a police officer, and they were doing it so that they could better do their jobs in the field. And I met some Texas Rangers. It's really cool to meet Texas Rangers. I mean, seriously, really? Yeah, cool. But anyway, I was the artist. And at one point, Karen had people visiting from, I think it was Panama. dignitaries from Panama came and saw our class in Texas because she is very well known. She's known all over the world for her forensic abilities and reconstruction abilities. And they came in, and they came with a film crew, and they wanted to film the students, and Karen wouldn't have it. She said, "No, you're not going to do that." And they really wanted to do it so that they could take it back to their uh, uh, frontline people, so to speak. And so Karen worked out a deal with them that if she had a sculpture that she did of a person that had not yet been identified, that they had put it out on the news and the airwaves, and it kind of, the enthusiasm for it had kind of died down. You know how things are. So she wanted to rekindle this enthusiasm to possibly find out who this person is. So she told them if they would air and talk about this person, a little bit about the history from the forensic anthropologist and the sculpture that Karen did, that she would allow them to film one student. And they agreed. And then she approached me and asked me if I would be that student that they could film. Why? Because I'm an artist, and I'm also someone who's comfortable in front of the camera. So, and the police officers and the forensic scientists can't really have these extended films of them because you never know where they're going to be and what they're going to be doing. So, so they can't be filmed a lot doing what they're doing. It's better that they don't. And so they zoomed the camera in on me, and I went through the class, and they asked me questions, and I was very happy to do that for Karen, because as my teacher, she had taught me a great deal, and I do want to go back and take the class. Now, she has a part 2 to this class, this forensic facial reconstruction class, but I'm going to take 1 again because I want to really get those the foundation fundamentals down before I do the rest, which is what this painting is about. The foundation fundamentals, which are the palette that this teacher has told us to get, needs to be followed to the letter because it's the foundation. If I want to be successful for the rest of the classes, I need to have the components that she suggests. Canvas, right? She said, doesn't have to be the board. In fact, she uses a board because she likes super smooth surfaces. She does not like a lot of texture in her painting. But she said, if you don't mind that, you can use a regular canvas and you don't have to prepare it as much as she did, and you can have more texture. Well, I want to feel like a painter, so I wanted that texture of the canvas. I may change it later, but I'm a sculptor, and when I draw, I usually use Bristol board. If you draw and you know Bristol board, it's seriously smooth. It doesn't have any tooth or texture. So I wanted to work with texture. I really did. I also draw digitally, again, not a lot of texture. So I wanted to feel that texture. And that's one of the things I liked about working on my painting with Janny, is that there's texture. There's actually not only texture, but there's also body to the paint, which I really got into. And she really encouraged to just do what you're kind of feeling, just express. And that's what a teacher needs to do, is to allow you to find that inner artist within you, what direction you're going to go. And Janny's really good at it. So, and so if you want to do the facial reconstruction class, Google Karen T. Taylor. She's probably not teaching them right now live, but there's 2 places she teaches them, Texas and in Arizona. But you want to go to Texas, okay? Because Texas is actually at one of the best forensic colleges in the world. And the one in Arizona is a little artsy. Okay, so it's not at a forensic college. And I'm going to encourage you to immerse yourself with the forensic people, because there's nothing like being with these people who have dedicated their lives to taking care of these skeletons, bones, and it's just really amazing. I met a forensic dentist that just blew me away. Yeah, oh my gosh, just whoa. I love forensics. I am a forensic nut. So just love it. And I watch Forensic Files, and they're all kind of the same, kind of this, similar formula, but I don't care. So I got to watch them when my husband's not around because he gets bored. But I love forensics. And Karen does too. And if you watch Forensic Files, you'll see Karen on it. She's not in all the time, but whenever they bring in someone who does facial reconstruction, Karen T. Taylor is the one they usually bring in. So you really get to learn from the master, and she's just a love. She's so great. So I've written to her during the pandemic and said, I miss you and I really want to come out and train again. And yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. But when you go to Texas, they actually take you on a body farm. So you get to learn other stuff about that. And it's really cool. So I highly recommend the Texas class as opposed to the one that's in Arizona, because in Arizona, you get basically the training without the bonuses. So just saying. I just watched one done of real shrunken head recently. Incredible to undo the shrinking. Yeah, that is pretty wild. That's a different kind of process, but wow. Yeah. The body is an amazing thing. And to see that is like incredibly cool. Frank, I'm learning watercolor painting with my friend, Maureen. Yes, I'm mostly colorblind. I developed a technique to pick colors. Yeah, Frank is something else. Okay. Frank Cohen and I done a couple of things together. One of the things you may remember if you've been with me a while is the Starling watches, the watches that have this amazing box that I sculpted for Frank, and then he designed the watch. But Frank is colorblind, and the challenge with Frank is that we went and did this glass class, a class where you pick the glass and then they put it in the kiln and it melts into something. Have you guys ever done that class? It's pretty cool. Frank took me, we went up to Washington and we did it with his friend Mary, and really fun class. But Frank wanted to identify the colors. So the way he was able to do it was he would say, what color is this? Okay, so he might pick up this and go, what color is this? And I would say a carrot. Okay, and he would, in his mind, imagine what carrot looked like him being colorblind. What does a carrot look like? And he would know that this was carrot color. Okay, and then if we did this color, like right here, he would say, what color? And I would say apple or cherry or stop sign. And he would remember and he would pick the colors. So now he's doing watercolor. And doesn't that just blow you away? How cool that is that he's able to do that. And again, just doesn't quit, doesn't say I can't do it because I'm colorblind. Pardon me, he just does it. So he's very impressive. It's very fun, and he nails it. He actually does some color combinations that are really, really fantastic. And this watercolor class he's talking about, he loves Mary Blair. Again, who doesn't? And so he's finding that when people look at his pictures, they think he's a lot like his art is kind of reminiscent of Mary Blair. So he's been looking at Mary Blair and kind of judging based on being colorblind, color she uses, color he, isn't that cool? One hand washes the other and artists help others. So yeah, forensic college is neat. Like I said, it's an investment. When I went, it was the price of the class, which was around $1,000. And then you have to, if you go to Texas, you have to have a hotel for a week. And they feed you lunch, but you have to figure out your dinner and your breakfast, your flight. But it's worth it. So it's worth it, believe me. I just became thank you, Tracy. You got to come on our Zoom call at 11. What a sweetheart you are. Thank you, Tracy. I can't wait for your voice to join everybody else's, and I think you're going to have a good time too. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Having been an x-ray technician for so many years, I've always been interested in forensics. How cool. Michael Luzzy, when you finally cut loose with what you're doing and are able to do a spotlight on the Patreon page. You are a little diamond. I know we're going to peel back the layers of the onion and find some really cool stuff about you, because you're always dropping a gem. And I love that about the patrons. It's just, I just learn such great stuff. Frank says the watercolor technique is and he's telling you all about it. So there you go. You can look at that if you want to do watercolors. I understand the red thing. Yeah. It's very clever. Frank is he made this decision. He wanted to do this. He wanted to learn it, and he didn't want his situation to deter him, hold him back. And it doesn't. It's the beautiful thing about him. A friend of my dad's and my old boss in a record CD store, his dad was on the SAG board. Lingardo was his last name. I don't know the board very well. I mean, I know of them, but they change. Huge amount of people on the board. Massive. And I'm getting to know them a little bit better because SAG just did something really dirty, and we're all trying to get that back with our healthcare. It's really not cool. I won't go into it, but yeah, we're working on it. Wandavision loved it. Could you imagine writing a show like that? Time travel, character reveals, has to fit into the Marvel universe. Crazy. Yeah, and the thing is on top of all of that, Frank, they made it so I could like it and people like me. One of the things that a lot of people have been saying is that they got to sit with their son or their daughter or their significant other, me, my husband, and enjoy it together. And I'm going to love them and thank them over and over and over again for that. Tracy says, I've been awake since Sunday afternoon and have stayed awake to be here. You brighten my week. I'm a volunteer to watch mares ready to foal anytime, so I'm up all night. Love it. Oh, Tracy, you got to do a spotlight too. But full disclosure, I say this to everybody who's in the tribe because I love this. I am a horse nut. I loved horses ever since I was a kid. My mom said I would grow out of loving horses when I grew into loving boys, and it didn't happen. I've had 3 horse partners in my life. Used to ride barrel race. Used to do, excuse me, I just want to turn off my tea thing so it doesn't, so I don't forget. And never got to do what you're talking about, but I would just love it. I think it would be so cool. I'm sorry, you must be very tired, but what a cool thing. I would love to learn more. Leslie says at DCA, there's a fun WandaVision set photo op. I got to do a few Wanda poses there Saturday. I saw this, Leslie. It's very cute. And I'm living vicariously through people like you. I saw it and I liked it. Frank says post them because he wants to see them. See, he's on it. Yeah, he wants to see them too. Frank and I went to China and we went to Hong Kong together. And we went to speak with a manufacturer there. This is a while back, not during COVID, of course, you can't get anywhere. But he and I went and we went there and there was a posing opportunity for us. And we have pictures like that with, what was it? The Thor hammer, I think, and the Iron Man. Oh, it was fun. It was just so fun. Kids should be getting the vaccine. Yeah. But you can understand, and I can understand why children and pregnant women are going to be the last ones, right? Because they have different metabolisms and you got to be super careful. So I'm glad they're going slow with kids and pregnant women because those are very, very, I mean, we're all vital, but you just don't want to do anything too hasty with children or pregnant women. Good morning. Glad I had time before I had to go be a chef. Well, see, we were waiting for you, Michael. It's, you know I talk a lot. Leslie says, loved WandaVision even without any info. I thought you would. Afterward, I went back and watched some again with more info. Also had a conversation later with others who explained things. I will say that some background would have been nice, but even without it, it was so good. Kept increasingly engaging in mind and imagination, as well as being fun and enjoyable. It just, you know why, Leslie? It's a love story. And who isn't a sucker for a good love story? You know, if you strip away everything about it, it's a love story, and love stories have us at hello, don't they? Yeah, so I really appreciate this from the writers. I said the same thing about The Mandalorian, though, because the creator, Favreau and the other fella, I really believe these two people were sitting in the theater back in the day when I was first experiencing the original three films. Now they're younger than me, so maybe their first film back then was Jedi or Empire. But the point is that they write so well and they create the world so delicately and with great detail and with such care and love that it's like they have me in their heart. And I want to thank them for that too. That's the way I felt about WandaVision. I thought they took really, really good care of me. And why should they worry and bother? Didn't Disney open April 1st when it was a baby and no one showed, so they changed the date? Michael, maybe this is a question for the group because they know better than me. Frank Cohen, it was recommended to me to do video and then photo captures. The quality wasn't that great, but it was fun. Next time I go tomorrow, I will do better. I will post them on my Facebook page. There you go. Leslie, we look forward to that, sweetie pea. You've been going a lot. Just be safe, okay? Please be safe. Because I don't think you got the vaccine yet. You're not old enough. I went to WDW last November 2021. I felt delighted to be on the new Runaway Railroad. In the dance lesson, I held my hands up high, pretended to be a ballet dancer. Mirrors showed a woman sitting in the row behind me, decided to do the same. We had a connection and a laugh the rest of the day. With everyone wearing masks and being socially distant, I felt kind of isolated, or at least missing making that people-to-people connection I normally do in parks. It was fun to enjoy. Yeah, guys, this is it. You gotta social distance. Don't take the mask off to take a picture. And Frank tends to take the mask off to take a picture, but at least it's kind of a bubble he's in. Boy, he says this twice. Why do you say this twice? I guess he didn't think that it took, but he did a double comment there. I think that's really cute. My dad gave me the pin. I'm working on a shadow based on the poster that you see on the tunnel of Disneyland. Wonderful! Bravo! Can't wait to see it. Please post and show it because you're very good. I agree about the opening. My daughter got a week of training prior to going back a month ago. My other daughter has not gotten the call. They have to give ample time to reopen. And there you have it, Bob Burdine. Absolutely, Bob Burdine. Maybe they can open for Club 33 employees and family members. I don't know, Terry, if after Club 33 there will be room for employees and family members. It may have to be employees and family members, then Club 33. You see what I'm saying? Because it's going to be really shrunk. And Disneyland is not that big. So that's one of the things I'm talking about. I want you all to get excited. I think it's great. We are coming to the end of the marathon. But now your patience is going to be tried. So hang tough. Hang tough, Mouseketeers. This is where we really got to dig deep, social distance, and keep on the good run so that it can open. Not going to Disneyland or Downtown Disney until after January 1st, 2022. I do not want to see the green gates closed to my park and not be able to go in. And I will continue to wear 2 masks until then. I have had my first Pfizer vaccine on February 26th. The second will be March 19th. There you go. See? And that means that some other people can go in. They may be royal, but they are human just like us. And they proved it, didn't they, Tracy? That's what I'm talking about. You know, I got a tear in my eye when Meghan talked about The Little Mermaid. I thought, there's a great story. And it's a story that lasted about yay long, but it was so moving, and so it was a great message, you know? So I wish them both all the luck in the world. I really was happy to the decision could not have been easy, especially for Prince Harry, because it's all he knows. It's everything he knows. He fell in love with the way, I mean, coming to America. Here we go, right? Coming to America, and the prince goes to bring his bride back, and here is Harry brings his bride back, but there's challenges in the kingdom, and that's really sad. That's too bad, because he's a real level-headed guy. He's a sweetheart. I will say that I got to go sailing with the Kennedy family, as in John F. Kennedy, Rose Kennedy. No, I did not sail with John F. Kennedy. But what I did do is sail with one of the sons of Robert Kennedy, and met the kids, and actually did get to meet Rose, met the sister, everybody. But this particular Kennedy has done the same as the prince. He's come to California because he just, as luck would have it, he doesn't like politics. Can you imagine being a Kennedy and not liking politics? I mean, it's kind of bred in them. They kind of cloned each other. No offense, but that's his problem. He wants to sail. He loves sailing. So he has a lovely wife. They are two lovely people, and they just want to sail as much as, but they were pressuring him when he lived over in Cape Cod area. And so he needed to get away so that he could be him. When you're the odd man out in a family that feels you ought to be behaving the way all the others did, you got to break free and spread your wings. And that's the blessing. And so, Harry and Meghan, I wish you everything. I wish you everything good. And I'm so happy that you're here. I'm glad you chose California. You're an asset to our state. A new CDC guidelines may allow your dad to visit your mom 28 days after completing his coronavirus vaccine. I hope so. I hope so. The one thing is, though, my dad may or may not wish to drive. And if he doesn't wish to drive, I become the taxi. I think he will, though. But that's what we're all hoping is eventually. I used to drive my father. But, well, not all the time. He drove himself. But I'm hoping they get to see each other. Yeah, he's going to really enjoy that. It's going to be weird because, they haven't seen each other in person in such a long time. And I'll work it out that he can take her donuts and coffee. She loves it. In fact, this up until the 7th, Krispy Kreme allowed you to get a free dozen. So I ordered a dozen glazed, and then I got a free dozen glazed, and then I ordered a custom box for my mother, because if there's no bear claws in the donut box, all bets are off. Okay, not bear claws, maple bars. Forgive me. If there's no maple bars inside the donut box, you just don't bring the donut box where my mother is concerned. So I got that all set up for her, the custom box. I snuck in a fritter. I'm hoping she likes it. And then I had these glazed donuts that I gave the frontline social workers at the convalescent hospital. I always take care of them too. And Chrissy, who's at the front desk, always goes, "I think I'll share. Maybe." She always does that. But I had this third dozen, and I gave it to my husband, and he actually took it to work because he's actually going into the office. There's only very few people where he's working, very few, skeleton crew, if that. And they were just delighted. He said it really brought up the morale, and he was glad to be the one that did that for them. And I was glad that I could help him do that. So you never know what a well-placed box of donuts will do for somebody if they're feeling kind of blah because of COVID-19, right? My family has gone through the same situation. You can still love each other. Things do work out eventually. I have been a part of it. Honestly, Tracy, I did not think it was going to work out with my mother. Full disclosure. Yeah, I didn't think so. It was a gift that I am grateful for. I'll never forget it. But My mom has a friend and caregiver also. Her name is Denora. She's just amazing. And she just straight up said, you can be really mean sometime. And my mom actually listened to her. So you never know where angels are going to come from. At least your dad wasn't named Shirley or Sue. Thank you, Michael. I'm not surprised you did wacky things. What? Thank you, Tracy. I think may comment too much. No, please. I remember the day I started this channel, and it was about 3 people who didn't want to comment, a cricket, and maybe a salamander was watching my Facebook channel. So all of you comment as much as you want. I really, really love the interaction. It may turn out that Leo doesn't even need to worry about the questions anymore because you guys are stepping up. They told me you would. Those YouTubers and those Facebook Live people and my coach, they all said, just keep doing it and people will start responding. And you all are. I'm so grateful, which is one of the reasons I'm going over 3 hours today when I should have stopped about, 40 minutes ago. But I want to get through the comments. So what it's telling me is I'm just going to go earlier and get into your comments if I need to, end earlier. I was fortunate enough to know 3 of my great-grandparents, 2 who came from Sicily and treasured Sicilians. Oh, Tracy, did you eat? You must have really ate, okay? Because that's when my brother-in-law. Oh, and I got to mention this, guys, and I'm mentioning it late, so shame on me. But my brother-in-law is a trumpet player, and he is the #1 trumpet player for Tower of Power. So tonight on PBS, your public station, Tower of Power is having their 50th anniversary celebration. You might see me, but what you're really going to see is my brother-in-law. He's the trumpet player. And then my sister-in-law, my husband's older sister, is the backup singer. So you'll at least get to see them. That's tonight. I think she said around 8 o'clock. Check them out. They're really talented. They're really good. But he's Sicilian. This is what made me think of it, Tracy. And he always does our Thanksgiving dinner. He didn't used to always do it, but now he does. And boy, it's always 10 times better than you can even imagine it. Why? Because he's Sicilian. So you must be in heaven whenever you get to have them cook, because wow, they are the maestros. Aren't they the artists when it comes to that kind of, I mean, he never ceases to blow your mind completely out of the water. Saul Cracchiolo is his name. He's an amazing trumpet player, but also as a chef, wowzer. That's all I have to say. Melanie, who is my husband's sister, says she's really spoiled because he just cooks her wonderful things every night. And I go, oh my gosh, they're just, yeah, he's very impressive when it comes to cooking. Hello, Terry, says Justin. Hello, Justin. Hope all is well. What's your favorite memory of your body of work? Oh, I have so much. Punching Eisner, that was a good one. Stay safe. Any memories? Yeah, there's tons of them. Oh, there's tons of them. There's one really recent that involves Michael Luzzy, who you saw mentioned here, and he said that he's kind of shared with us some of his background, which is just really blows me away. He's always doing that. But I became a cachet art person, and I did cachet first day covers, and I did some hand painted cachet covers for the 2019, I think it was 2019 contest. And it was hand drawn, hand painted. I think I did like over 100 envelopes. And Michael kept saying, don't do it. You're going to go crazy. Don't do it. You're going to go crazy. And like my hitchhiking ghosts, I'm going crazy. I did pretty much, but they are beautiful and they are gorgeous. And I said, what I don't know, it's best to do it, because once I do know, I'll never do it again. And so grab it while you can. And just having Michael there holding my hand and helping me understand why first day covers with stamp collectors are so important. What the heck is a first day cover? and then why you don't want to do 138 or whatever, how many drawings I did, each one individual. You draw it and you paint it, and you draw it and you paint it 138 times. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. But afterwards, I swept the contest, and Michael awarded me the awards. He brought them to me and he awarded them to me. And it was a great honor. It's such a great memory because Michael is so giving, and he just worked very slowly with me. And I really appreciate it because there's some math involved, and math is a second language to me. So it's not so easy. I'd like to say it's getting easier, but I really have to focus to do it. So he was very helpful. That's one of my memories. If you want more, they Ask Me Anything on Friday. Bye, Deanna. Bye, Dr. D. Yes, I know. It's a lot longer. It's because you guys are talking. I like it. Yeah, well, you can Facebook message about the horses, or just wait till you're on the Zoom call this Wednesday. If you can make 11 o'clock, Tracy, we'll talk about it. And I'm excited about the Born. You know, if I don't know if you'll get to take pictures because your hands might be full, literally, huh? Oh, it's so exciting. Little babies. I watched Bambi today, and I just love how realistic Bambi is. One of my favorite films. And I love watching the little fawn of Bambi trying to get up and trying to walk. And oh, it's really genius, that movie. Just so beautiful. Leslie says WandaVision is indeed a love story, which is why the ending was really rough, and we're not going to say anymore. Just in case you guys are still hanging on that haven't seen it yet. Oh, we really need to talk, girl. Yeah, we do. And we'll do that. I mean, I hope you can come Wednesday to the Zoom call. I can introduce you to everybody, and we can all have a nice chat. Those last 1 to 2 hours as well. Nothing is short. I'm only a couple of years behind eligibility for vaccine at this point, which will likely change very soon. Fully follow protocol, have felt very safe. Downtown Disney with their protocol, safer than Costco. Word, girl. And I've been enjoying many visits. I've been enjoying some ice cream there too. Yeah, that's nice. And yeah, if it was just me, I might do it too, Leslie. Costco, I can't do. And you know, the hardest thing was November, December for us is not getting that pumpkin pie. I could not go into that Costco and get the pumpkin pie because it was so dangerous. I could have been a carrier and brought it back to my husband. And that just isn't on the agenda. So I will isolate like my husband does. We will isolate, and because I want to protect him. So that's where that's coming from, my love. That's where that's coming from. All this donuts are Bonnie. I'll tell you. Donuts are wonderful, decadent treat, great to raise the spirits and feel appreciated. Great way to sprinkle pixie dust, almost decadent as eye cream, but doesn't melt. You're right, Leslie. And the thing is that, you know, if you've got someone who's been extra special to you, whenever Krispy Kreme writes to me and says we got this free dozen is when I buy one for my mom and I get that free dozen. And then I just kind of randomly think who's been wonderful to me and I pop them over there, and it's really been great. I mean, I didn't know if my husband was going to take him because he has such a skeleton crew. I didn't know there was enough to share a dozen donuts, but apparently there was enough that maybe they got 2 each or something, but it's a very, very limited office because of the pandemic. I have a meeting to go to. Bye. Thank you, Frank. Frank, thanks for dropping in. And finally, the last, I have Kennedy stories too. They taught me how to properly hold and throw a football. Oh my gosh. Isn't she something? Oh. Grim Grinning Tracy. Isn't this cool? This is going to be amazing. That is really something, Tracy. I can't wait to hear more. Guys, I'm going to run. It is 12:40. We have been on for over 3 hours. I love you guys. Thank you for talking. If I want to make it shorter, I'm going to have to get to your comments sooner because you guys are keeping me on my toes. Remember the AMA Friday if you want to ask. And remember, I'm going to be talking about the mermaid tail. If you can go to PBS tonight at 8 o'clock or put it on your DVR, then you'll actually get to see some of my relatives doing the Tower of Power thing that they do. It was actually filmed in 2018. So don't worry that nobody has masks. You don't have to panic. It was done well before the pandemic, but I hope you'll join me in watching it. And I will see you on Friday. Do something nice for someone else. It's going to make you feel a whole lot better. Bye for now. Be real, be happy. I love you all. Thank you for today.